And we're back. How's everybody doing today? Welcome in. Let me get this all situated and good to go. I'm in a few minutes early. I like to put it at 4:05. That way, if I'm late, then it's not so bad. Sometimes I just run a few minutes late because, I'll be resetting something or what have you. But anyhow, I am Jay with Guilty of Crime, and we're back. Good to see you guys. Come on in, hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't, and get a membership if you can. You guys know the drill. Let me say hi to y'all before I jump into anything. I am a few minutes early, and I feel like a couple of you missed me yesterday. Am I correct? All right. I'm going to try my best next time I get off schedule to post something for you guys. All right. I usually always take the Monday after Easter off, and I take it off work, but this isn't my job. This is my passion. This gives a voice to the victims. And yeah, well, on a Monday, I'm just not there after Easter. So we'll get it down. What's up? Is it ISIS email? Foxy, we got Foxy in the house. How are you doing? Kel's in the house. We got Kel. I think we might only have two mods today. I believe we have some out due to what they're doing in the background. So please do say a prayer for all of our mods. Hope they're doing well. Lady for Justice, how are you doing? Sadie's mama, always a pleasure. Now, day 66, and I quote, she's dead. Nancy Guthrie. Okay, so that's what we're talking about today. New ransom details released. Literally, two ransom notes came in the same day, one in the morning, one in the afternoon, on the same day that Savannah put out her message and went back to work. Coincidence? I think not. Y'all know I don't believe in coincidences when it comes to true crime. And in real life, I don't believe in coincidences either. I feel like it's, things that are meant to be will, things that you attract will come. Even the things that you don't want to attract will come if you stay in the mode long enough. Good to see you, Flojo TV. How you doing? Thank you. Thank you. Go sub up to this man's channel. He has a great channel. Julie, how you doing? Good to see you guys. All right, you guys know that we're about to get into it. Mama Pearl's here. Yes, Mama Pearl. Mama Pearl's in the house. And wait, where's Melissa? I got a shout out to Melissa. Hey, Melissa, twin mommies, two boys. How are you doing? All right. I hope you guys all had a wonderful Easter weekend. I hope the kids were excited. The Easter bunny came, if they still believe that. You guys had family time and dinner, etc. I hope that all happened for all of you in some way. All right. So, however you celebrated Easter, I hope you had a good one. All right. Good to see you, Deborah Manchester and Cynthia. How you doing? The jab? All right, guys, we're going to get into it. I believe I put the goal up there. I also pinned my Buy Me a Coffee Guilty of Crime for Las Vegas 2026 Crime Con. Kristen Perry, good to see you. Sadie's mama's eating chocolate covered Oreos with Jay's face on it. Got some cookies from Synth. They're awesome. Oh my goodness, you're actually eating my face off? Oh, love to see that. That's funny. What's up, Rocco? Good to see you. Yeah, guys. And again, yesterday I should post a note when I'm not going to be here. Brenda, hi Jay, happy to be here, and I'm happy for you to be here as well as Jersey. Why was your last video only 10 minutes and 42 seconds? Because I have clips of video. So if you look in my category, it says videos and it says live streams. And those are my videos that I chop up for people to watch independently. And sometimes they get chopped off a little too soon. So just to let you know, the videos that are out there are always videos that are cut up of something else so people can digest my 3-hour streams. But thank you for asking. I appreciate you greatly. And I appreciate you, Kimberly. Let's get that ball rolling. And Flojo TV said, let's go. All right, well, let's get to it. And of course, I got to say hello to Scotland from California. What's up? Harris made it. I'm glad you're here. All right. Well, we got shorts too, but those aren't shorts. Those are just videos. Well, they're shorts of my long videos. All right. I've got shorts, I've got videos, and I've got lives. So shorts only are about 15 to 30 seconds. Most of my videos are 11 to 13 minutes, and my videos now seem to be, or my lives seem to be like 2 hours, 3 hours. It's easier to digest, my friend. All right. All right. Bree says, thank you by gifting the 5 guilty of crime memberships. And she says, Jay, get on it. Stop talking. That's not really what she said, but I'm going to go with that. Thank you so much, Bree. If you received a membership from Bree, please thank her. Wolf Moon's in the house. How you doing? Felicia. I love that. Bye, Felicia. Look at say I can say hi, Felicia. Bye, Felicia. And then hi, Wolf Moon. All right, I'm going to pop this back up and say thank you. Greatly appreciated. Let's get to this. Now, is anyone else even more confused than you were days ago about this case? We're still looking for this guy or men. All right, we got a lot to cover tonight. Again, thanks, Bree. Appreciate you. Hi, Felicia, and bye, Felicia. Welcome to the crime crew. And let's get started. You know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to pop this up for a quick minute. Let's pull this down and pop this up so you guys can see exactly what we're talking about today. A lot of people seem to be confused by the ransom notes and what happened and what's going on and who's what. And there's a lot of clickbait out there. So let's straighten things out. Here's what we're talking about today. That and new camera angles, guys. New camera angles that I didn't realize were there. And you guys got to tell me, was video footage pulled from those? And what is FBI not giving us? Fugitive TV, thank you for stopping and showing love, my friend. Go sub up to Fugitive TV. Also, I'm a fan. All right, Kristen Perry, I knew you'd be confused. A lot of people are. So I'm going to go ahead and not let you guys be confused. We're just going to get back on track. We all have sound. It gets more twisted as time goes by. All right, let's continue. What's up, Country Bumpkin? Let's just get into it. There's a lot to get into. So this is going to sum it up and then the video footage. All right, there is more video footage, in my opinion, I assure you.
Hey guys, so there are 2 other reported ransom notes that went to TMZ. TMZ is now reporting. One of them went this morning. The other one arrived this afternoon. Harvey Levin has said that these notes came from someone who has been sending notes in the past. This person claims that they are not the abductor, but instead someone who knows who the abductor is and who knows where Nancy Guthrie is. And in the second note sent today, the person claimed that they saw Nancy alive in Mexico. So my gut says these notes are not real. I have no idea. Of course,
now let me correct this for a moment because we're going to go straight to the sources, right? Straight to the sources. We're going to go straight to TMZ. These people have been the number one communicators, in my opinion, properly that I can align with. Brian Enton has been out there on the scene. We've got TMZ that are actually the people getting these ransom notes, which I could have a whole hour-long discussion on why they're getting these notes. We'll get there. And then the third thing, and the third person, we got Ashley Banfield, Brian Enton. All right, those are the people. And then TMZ, because the letters are going to them. So I'm going to correct him a bit. That is not what they said. They said they came right out of the gate with those letters and said she is dead. Now, if you believe that's a real letter, which we're going to get into as well, then we can have a discussion about that. There are so many questions, but I have to correct Brian Enton on that one part.
Savannah Guthrie said in her interview that she believes 2 of the notes in the past have been real. We don't know if those are the same notes that went to TMZ. Remember, there were notes that went to the local TV affiliate. But it's interesting that these notes came on the same day that Savannah Guthrie went back.
And guys, even that was confusing. So I'm going to play that for you. And I saw bring Nancy Guthrie home. But when I saw that video, I was like, what in the devil's hell is this? What is this? It was really weird. It just didn't feel right. And then I realized what it was for, the whole Savannah Guthrie and what she was wearing and how they staged it. I was kind of a bit confused about it, but we're going to break it down together because you guys might have been confused too and maybe prejudging a bit like I did. Now, you guys know I'm all for the victims. All right. You know that. All right. If he knows the person who did it, why not go to the FBI? Oh, we're getting into that, Brenda. That makes 0 sense. That's why we're talking about
to
it.
work at Today Show. Is that just a coincidence? We don't know. TMZ said they sent the notes to the FBI, so I'll try to get more info on them, but I just wanted to keep you guys posted.
All right. So that was we just did a quick, we're not going to get into the TMZ part yet because before we do any of that, guys, we're going to take a look at this so we can just make sure we're all on the same page. I could do it later in the episode, but we're going to do it now. This was the Today Show. So this is the Today Show post by Savannah Guthrie directly. Okay. And I was like, what in the hell is this? I still believe. Now, this, I didn't realize Savannah Guthrie had delivered this heartfelt Easter video message for her church, the Good Shepherd, New York. She says, and I quote, when we celebrate today, this is what we celebrate. And I celebrate too. I still believe. And so I say with conviction, happy Easter. And then there's her full message. All right. Someone says, I hope that you realize that through this horrific tragedy that you and your family have suffered, you showed your viewers what Christianity is. And I hope a lot of people are seeing it that way. Okay. I really am. I didn't realize this was a church message for church. Number one, I want you to realize that. Number two, in my opinion, she's showing the kidnappers who's in charge. Those kidnappers want to be in charge and they're not. That's what she's telling them. And they're telling, in my opinion, they're telling her back by going and doing a letter in the morning and a letter in the evening. This is what they're telling her back. You're not in control. I am. And that's just my honest opinion, what they're saying about her returning to work and this message. Now, mind you what she's wearing. And what's up, the old gray goat? How you doing, my friend? You guys don't forget all the old stuff we used to have. We still have the lazy, evil potato. We still got a hashtag take our meds, my friends. And goat genetics. My goodness. Let me, hold on real quick. Let me just shout out to Goat Genetics. All right. They are seriously the goat. All right. Goat Genetics. If you guys come on here, thank you. All right. Now, look at this. She almost looks like she's mourning, and rightfully so. Let me see what FloJo says. Last night I had a thought with everything going on that maybe these notes could have been written by the one person who's still hanging outside. Absolutely. And we're going to get into that. However, there's a power dynamic in this situation with the ransom notes. Tucson girl, what's up? Good to see you. I'm glad you're here. All right, JLR has been on all this. I don't know why, but he's there. He's doing his thing still. All right, just watch this as we go. This was released for church. Okay. And of course, it's not the tantalizing, I've got shocking new video for you, but this is part of bringing Nancy Guthrie home. And it's not always what it seems. Okay. Savannah has already known about the letters and what some of them say. Exactly, Don. Ding, 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 ding. She is mourning. And I'm going to tell you right now that her messages started to go towards her knowing that her mom is no longer alive weeks ago. And that looks like she's absolutely taken her power back. She's saying, I'm in church. I believe in God. I have faith. Yes, I'm mourning, but I'm not going to let you have control over me or the family. All right. She's still mourning, but she is mourning longer than we thought. That's what I'm going to tell you right now. I think she's absolutely been mourning and she's healing from it, but she's known more than we do. All right. So let's listen to this. And then, guys, we're getting straight into everything I've got for you today, which is a big one. All right. Coffee and Dog Studio. Vermont loves you, Jay. No chroma. Well, thank you. No chroma here. You might see me in some of the chats supporting my friends. but no crama on guilty of crime, my friends. That's just not my deal. All right, let's get into it. Just pay attention to, now that you understand, if you didn't, the context. This is Good Shepherd Church, New York. They literally have their tag on it, and that's what it's for. And celebrating Easter when he has risen wearing all black on her day back to work.
Everybody, happy Easter. And Easter is happy. It is flowers and pastels and baby bunnies. It is sunshine and joy and hope. It is rebirth and second chances and new life and fresh starts. It is the most important day of the year for all of us who believe, even more than Christ's birth, more than his death, his resurrection, his second birth into a permanent life. That is what is most crucial to us. His revival and resurrection mean the same for us. We celebrate today the promise of a new life that never ends.
Now remember, she's a character, all right? She's a real person that has a personality for TV on the Today Show. So somewhat of an actor. Anybody that's a YouTube creator is somewhat of an actor. Okay, I don't walk around in my daily life talking about this and doing, there's a lot of things that I do, but there's a lot of things that you're doing specifically for the audience to portray a certain thing. And what she's portraying here, in my opinion, is you're not going to control me with what's going on. And I believe it pissed them off, because when we get into the notes, oh my goodness. But yeah, she's sending a powerful message, in my opinion, right here.
And death. But standing here today, I have to tell you, there are moments in which that promise seems irretrievably far away, when life itself seems far harder than death. These moments of deep disappointment with God, the feeling of utter abandonment. For most of us, there will come a time in our life when these feelings hold sway.
What? No.
In our tradition, we are taught to take comfort in the fact that our friend, Jesus, in his short life, experienced every single emotion that we humans can feel.
Now, I assure you, this pissed the people off that want the money. Again, when we get into, is it real or not? I think some were real and some aren't, and she understands that. But boy, did it piss them off enough to put 2 letters out on the same day, and their language got even worse. They never talked about that. Now they're just like, she's dead. I'm surprised they didn't say, she's dead, bitch, pay me. They're getting frustrated. They're getting tired. They're growing tired, and they want money. And whether that's the people that kidnapped and took her life or not, remember, the Derek Colella is still on the hook for texting and calling Annie and Tommaso about where's my Bitcoin. All right, I want you to realize that. And then I'm going to show you Annie and Tommaso are now taking over the house, just like I predicted that they would.
That his taking on the form of humanity made him not a distant observer to our pain, but a hands-on experiencer of it. Recently, though, in my own season of trial, I have wondered. I have questioned whether Jesus really ever experienced this particular wound that I feel, this grievous and uniquely cruel injury of not knowing, of uncertainty and confusion and answers withheld. In those darkest moments, I have thought, bitterly and perhaps irreverently, that I have stumbled upon a feeling that Jesus did not know.
Hey, Eileen.
After all, don't the gospel stories recount Jesus informing his disciples of his destiny, that he had been sent to die to ultimately be raised up? They didn't get it.
Now, listen, if this was a kidnapping like a kidnapping gone wrong, or somebody that really just hates her, just can't stand her face, and every time she talks, there's something wrong with it. This rich bitch, whatever, whether it's family connections or someone on TV that watches her, that's pissing them off, because it pisses people off when someone is thriving. I absolutely do, Tucson girl. Dark Scale Creatures, thank you so much for becoming part of the guilty of crime crew. Do you think the message triggered the abductors? Oh no, yes. Bet it pissed them off. Both. Let's continue.
But he did. He at least knew his fate. And yes, it grieved him deeply, to the point of shedding tears of blood in the Garden of Gethsemane. But still, he knew the ending. He knew the plan. There would be suffering, but then resurrection.
Yep.
And so I thought, he never suffered this excruciating not knowing. It isn't wrong to think such thoughts, to challenge our God with questions. God does not ask us to be stoics with standards of pain, with Zen-like remove, or shallow sloganeering about the hard battles God gives to his toughest soldiers. Our questions to God, our wrestling with God, this is his opportunity. For through our authenticity and vulnerability comes a portal of revelation.
And I don't even know how long this is because I'm playing it from Instagram. As soon as we get off of this, we're going straight into what all of this means now. Thank you so much, CB, for becoming a member of Guilty of Crime official crew. Wendy says, I think there's a pattern to these ransom notes. Every time she says something, they all of a sudden pop up. But we don't think it's the same person. And we're getting there. I just want to listen to this because this obviously is scripted. The fact that I know it's scripted is how her eyes move when she's talking. And she read shoulders as soldiers, which is rightfully so. She is very meticulous and very thoughtful in this message that she sends out. Now, April, your heart breaks and you wish they'd find her already, but the people that took her are watching this and they're seething. They're seething right now, I assure you. All right, let's continue.
Imparting of truth and wisdom.
No.
And so it went for me.
Someone else
this portal opening as I stared at yet another incongruently luminous desert sunset amidst my spirit's utter darkness. Suddenly, I remembered the grave. I remembered 3 days in the grave. No one talks much about that. We focus mostly on Easter. Of course we do. We cut to the happy ending and the joy.
And now I don't think she wrote this. I think someone absolutely helped her write this, like people do on TV when you're trying to portray something. Saucy Skins, I was just talking about your goat products, and you are the goat, my friend. Dang. All right, Alan, what is she doing? Writing a book? She is not writing a book. She is sending a message through church and talking about Jesus Christ because it was Easter on Sunday and she started work the same day. And then it prompted 2 more letters to come out. All right. She's not wearing black and talking about Jesus' resurrection and his death for nothing. And you guys, if you're religious or spiritual, whatever it is that you are, all right, whatever it is that you are, have faith in something and you'll see that the faith carries you through whatever. It doesn't matter if it's a religion or your spirituality. Hi, Andy Isham, the old great. Well, they're doing this particularly for the kidnappers, in my opinion.
Joy of Sunday morning. And yes, we do observe the Friday before, the agony of crucifixion. We mourn by candlelight that darkest night. But after Jesus died, after he breathed his last, what did he actually know? On the cross, he cried out, my God, why have you forsaken me? That is the anguished cry of someone who does not know the answers. Where did his soul and his spirit go in those days in between? And what was he thinking? Did he think his time in the grave would be a day or 2 or 1,000 years? In the grave, does his agony seem indefinite to him?
I mean, she's telling these people that she knows are watching, she's telling them directly, like, you can't hurt me. I know you did. That's not what she's saying, but the underlying message is this back to them. And I'm telling you, it pisses people off more than y'all know when you don't let someone have control of your emotions and feelings and how you live. And she's just using this as a way to, I'm not religious, so I can't say, well, this is Psalms 22, whatever. I don't know. All I know is that she is relying on her faith right now. And that's what faith is for. God wants us, whatever God you follow, wants us to have a good life, wants us to have faith, wants us to have faith in our children and the Holy Spirit and whatever. It wants us to have comfort. Because why I ask you guys this question, you don't have to answer me. If you're spiritual or religious, why? Is it because your parents made you go to church? Or because when your parents made you go to church, you found that faith and you realized? Or your parents never sent you to church and you found your own religious beliefs or spirituality? I ask you that question just as a, where do you draw your strength from when something like this happens to you? Again, you don't have to answer me, but that's my question. Mary Ann, good to see you, my friend. Let's continue.
That torment of uncertainty, the way indefinite pain can feel eternal. Perhaps he did know this feeling after all. As humans living on this earth now, we are all suspended in that moment of uncertainty. Not 3 days, but thousands of years between his cross and our resurrection with him. Our faith gives us a spiritual conviction that we will be reborn, that God will redeem this pain, that every tear will be wiped away, that our Easter is coming. But we live viscerally in the meantime, the meantime of feeling unsure, lost, abandoned, disappointed, enraged, forgotten. Our comfort is that our God has felt those feelings from a perspective of humanity, that he has.
And I don't know, some of the other messages didn't play it in full. They didn't play it in totality, but it's here in totality. And I just wanting you to, Midnight Lace, you're good. You don't need to catch up. This was put out on Easter over the weekend. Savannah Guthrie started her first day back on the 6th, and she put out this message. And then 2 more ransom notes came out, one in the morning, one in the afternoon, sent directly to TMZ. Now you're all caught up. All right, let's continue.
Has compassion on us, and that he promises, if not immediate answers, his sweet presence. He promises closeness to the brokenhearted.
Thank you guys for being
somehow,
here.
Miraculously, his loving and gentle presence that makes the mean time less mean. Perhaps this is too dark a message to share on Easter morning, but I have long believed.
But do you see what she did there and how she's wearing black? This is not something that she was going to put out for the church. This is something she's putting out to the church to show her faith and to get those kidnappers stirred up. And it did the job, guys. It did the job. It certainly did.
That we miss out on fully celebrating resurrection if we do not acknowledge the feelings of loss, pain, and yes, death. It is the darkness that makes this morning's light so magnificent, so blindingly beautiful. It is all the brighter because it is so desperately needed. So I close my eyes this morning and I feel the sunshine. I see a bright vision of the day when heaven and earth pass away because they are one on earth as it is in heaven. When we celebrate today, this is what we celebrate. And I celebrate too. I still believe. And so I say with conviction, Happy Easter. Good morning, everyone.
All right, guys, that was it. Happy Easter. We made it through. I wanted you to realize what got this kicked up, in my opinion. I get through because I'm too stubborn to quit. Well, that's faith, my friend. That's faith. Whatever faith that brings you to, and however it brings to you, is faith. Now, we're at day 66. Nancy Guthrie needs to be brought home. This is the disappearance 66 days later. This is on April 7th. And I'm just going to brief you quickly. And then we're going to hop right into what they sent. Okay. Authorities say Nancy Guthrie, the 84-year-old mother of NBC Today show host Savannah Guthrie, was abducted from her Tucson area home sometime between January 31st and February 1st. Now, Savannah Guthrie returned to the Today Show yesterday, April 6th, for her first time since her mother disappeared. TMZ reported it received new notes in the case, and the Guthrie family is still offering $1 million for the safe recovery of Nancy. All right, Tucson, Arizona, 66 days, gone in the night. They put this out. You guys should take a look at it. And what happened over the few days was, well, Easter and then these messages. So we're going to get into all of that. Also, independent firm working for Pima County released its findings into the workplace harassment complaint against Sheriff Nanos or Barney Fife. They reported on April 3rd that the complaint was brought by a former sheriff's department lieutenant who lost to Nanos in the election of 2024. All right, so this is just more stuff that's obviously getting in the way of, and let me take a look at this real quick. These are the things that are getting in the way of this case, and I want you to realize that because it's heavily affecting us. The fact that the person that's leading this has those circumstances going. All right. Listen, March 19th, 2026, Sheriff's Department complainant against Chris Nanos. Number one, they found him being a bullying. Preponderance of evidence does not support a finding without the responding party acted for the purpose of creating a hostile or abusive workplace. This is wild. I haven't seen these. Her decision to run Pima County, it says that the Legal Solutions conducted an administrative investigation into the complaint alleging the workplace bullying and retaliation. Her decision to run for Pima County Sheriff and the findings. They say it doesn't support a finding of bullying. Again, number two, ethics. The preponderance of the ethics of the evidence supporting to find that Sheriff Nanos uses authority and department resources for political gain. The evidence includes considering Lieutenant Lappin's political campaign in investigation and disciplinary decision-making, culminating in an issue, a press release that included the information obtained in his capacity as a sheriff. Code of conduct. The preponderance of evidence supports a finding that Sheriff Nanos violated applicable code of conduct rules by including confidential information in a press release about the reasons he placed Lieutenant Lappin on paid administration leave for political gain. He did not maintain rules about courtesy and civility. You guys think that that is not affecting this case right now? That this guy with a giant ego, Sheriff Barney Fife, aka Nanos, that this is not affecting it? Oh, I assure you it is. All right, now to this.
Your Tuesday morning, time to get the celebrity scoop with TMZ.
Yeah, Jackson High joins us now live from Los Angeles with more. Jackson, you all have been in on this, the investigation, of course, looking for Nancy Guthrie since the very beginning, and you have an update here to this story.
Yes, so as many people across the country know, we were one of the first people to get both the ransom notes for Nancy Guthrie and also demand letters for people that allegedly knew where Nancy Guthrie was, asking for Bitcoin in return for information. Now, we haven't gotten any of these letters for about 5 weeks now. Nancy Guthrie's been missing for over 2 months at this point. So imagine our shock yesterday, the same day that Savannah Guthrie returns to the Today Show, we get another demand letter from the same person that has been offering to rat out.
Now, this is not directly TMZ. This is the news station going to the source, which is TMZ. All right. So I just want you to realize the gravity of the situation. I have been saying on my channel that I don't believe Nancy Guthrie's fate. I don't think her fate is to be found. I hope that her fate is to find her body and bring her home. However, the family's putting out a powerful message that if they don't, that they will still move on. and those losers don't get a thing. All right, let's continue.
The perpetrators of this crime for nearly 2 months. Now, the person's request is that they want 1 Bitcoin. They want half for the information that they have now, and they want the other half for when her body is returned. Now, the person in this ransom note, or this demand letter, excuse me, is claiming that Nancy Guthrie is definitely dead. Now, the first thing we did was turn this over to the FBI, and the FBI think.
Now, again, I want to tell you that we're starting to finally hear verbiage in these ransom letters, which we're going to dig into. I'm glad you're back, Holly. Good to see you. Kel's been here. Mama Pearl's here. I got the mods in the house. Synth is off doing some testing, so please pray that she passes. All right, let's continue. I mean, he bluntly said it in the letter. Nancy Guthrie's dead. I wouldn't be so bold and crass about it, but this guy wants money. And I don't think this is the kidnapper, although it could be someone related or a person like Derek Colella.
That this has, no basis to it. There's no way to verify that this person actually does have the information or not. So again, it is a roll of the dice, but ultimately scary all around for sure.
So you said that the letter said that they claimed that Nancy is dead or alive?
Dead.
Now, in a previous demand letter, they have claimed that outright that she has passed away, that the time has passed and time is.
But are you guys hearing this? We did not hear that verbiage before, ever. This is the first time they're starting to leak information and verbiage, as well as, what about those cameras? There's cameras all over the top of the house, and it's the first time I realized that they had solar panels for the cameras. All right. Thank you, Joanne. Thank you. I appreciate you. Anthony, miss you, man. It's been a minute. Hey, good to see you, buddy. Come on anytime. Let's continue.
No longer of the essence, and they have definitely, she has definitely passed on, unfortunately. So again, very scary to hear that, especially from an anonymous sender. The mind can play all kinds of tricks on you, and it can kind of, it kind of paints a picture of this really creepy villain, at least in my opinion. I don't know. When you don't know who is sending, it can be very scary.
The Bitcoin right now is worth $67,000, but the family is offering that $1 million reward.
Now, you don't think we're going to have a discussion about this the whole episode? Right before I came on here, Bitcoin just hit $71,000 even, like straight up $71,000. And again, I'm just going to ask you, why would you get rid of your power by putting it out to TMZ? Because most kidnappers, or any kidnappers, all kidnappers that you can go back and compare, they have a ransom. They have something to do or give, but it's not public. It's something that you don't say. All right. Good to see you, Norma.
So why not just go right to the family?
That's the $1 million question. Literally the $1 million question.
Literally.
I mean, and that's something that the sender says. With $1 million on the table, I cannot believe nobody has come forward. And all I'm asking for is, 1 Bitcoin, which is 67,000. But ultimately, if you wanted the most bang for your buck, what you would do is you would take that information that you allegedly have and give it right to the family for the money. Why are you coming to TMZ for 6?
Yeah, again, that makes no sense why they would go to TMZ unless they want this coverage and the red herrings and the distractions from where Nancy's body really is. And yes, Deb, it drops as quickly as it rises. It was just over 100,000 a couple months ago. All right, there's something about this case. I agree. Andrea, thank you so much for being a member for 2 months. And you're very welcome, Andrea. Thank you. Thank you to all the new people here today. Let me show you what's happening at Nancy Guthrie's house, because we talked about this. We knew that was going to happen, right? We knew that people had to pay the bills, clean the pool, etc., etc. Okay, so that's what's happening here. You guys should go sub up to my at Guilty of Crime on X, okay? X, or whatever you guys like to call it, Twitter. Whatever. Go check out. It's just at Guilty of Crime. So I reposted this today. And just like I said, today at Nancy's house, it would seem that an unidentified person And Annie's husband, Tommaso, was at the home taking stuff out of the garage. You can see the garage door opening and closing. Then Tommaso left through the side entrance to the home. He seems very acquainted with using that choice of entry. Most who have come to Nancy's house have used the front door or the side gate. This is the second day that the property of Nancy's has been removed from the home. Lots of boxes were removed a couple of days ago. Bring Justice and Nancy home. Now look at this. Now I told you this was coming. I told you that this, no matter what, no matter who it was, no matter what kidnappers it was, they chased Tommaso. That's harassment. And I agree. Bob Felicia, they shouldn't be doing that at all. There has to be boundaries, and law enforcement needs to get out there and do what their job and protect them. Boxes are walking out via the family. So I just want you to see what's going on here. And I showed you last week that, and he's coming through the side. I showed you last week, these would be the people, the exact people, Annie and Tommaso. I don't know who the unidentified person is, but you see clearly that that's Tommaso. And he does look like he has lost a bit of weight. When you look at him, he looks a lot thinner and just, right? But like I said, no matter if they're involved or not, they still have to take over the house, pay the bills. Are they going to move in? Does anyone know? If possible, the house is going up for sale, maybe. You see what I'm saying, though? I just cannot imagine. Mama Pearl, I love you. My mom's here in chat. Mom, listen, I know you're not going to go missing, but if you do, I promise you that at day 66, I am not going to start selling your stuff and getting rid of it. I promise you. All right. That is what I won't do. I don't understand some of the things that they're doing, but it's beyond my comprehension. That's what's happening right now. Okay. So I don't know what else is going down. Again, we're going to get into what Harvey Levin has to say about the new ransom note and all that. But that is what's happening at Nancy's house. And if it's sold, then it leads me to back to my theory again. Who profits the most? All right. These are the guys that received the letter. Let's hear directly from them.
As promised, Savannah Guthrie is back on the job. She is at today, and she was actually on the air when they started the show this morning. Remember, she had been back to visit them once during the last 2 months while she was dealing with her mother's disappearance. But this was the first time she went on the air, and everyone was watching to figure out what was her mood going to be? How could she?
Again, she is a television personality. She knows how to put her face on. Everybody that's a creator or that has something that they got to do, they put their face on it. And I'm so glad to see her unapologetically being herself and doing what she thinks she needs to do. All right. But let's continue. There's a lot.
Handle this.
Would she talk about it?
Would she talk about it? This is how they started the day.
Pretty shot of the sun coming up. Good morning. Welcome to today on this Monday morning. We are so glad you started your week with us, and it is good to be home.
Yes, it is good to have you back at home.
Well, here we go. Ready or not?
Yeah.
Let's do the news.
Yes, so good to have you back. All right, those folks out on the plaza to welcome back our dear friend. Yay.
Some beautiful signs out there.
There's been signs for so long. They're going to be so.
But you see the difference with what she wore on her first day back for Easter and the celebration. And again, those kidnappers or whoever's writing those ransom notes or both are seething right now that she's back in her spot. She's bright in spirit. She's wearing, she's wearing bright colors. She's not wearing black like she did in the video that was like she was mourning. And well, of course she's fake. I mean, if she's going to be fake, she's a TV personality. She's going to be much different in person. All of them are. I mean, do you know who that is? It's freaking Carson Daly. Carson Daly used to be an MTV guy, right? Now he's this guy in a suit that everybody thinks is, perfect. They're all, it's the nature of it. All right. Yeah. It's a distraction. You got that right, my friend. Yep, you got it. Let's continue.
Excited to see
I'm
them.
excited to see them. Give them all a hug.
Yeah.
Been really feeling the love so much. Thank
Welcome
you.
back.
Good to be back.
Great to have you.
You know what struck me about this? Her dress.
Yellow?
Which is the idea of coming home.
Spring and,
no, coming home. Like yellow ribbons.
I thought of it more as sort of a new beginning of spring.
I'm thinking of it as yellow ribbons.
You went with Tony Orlando and Dawn when they tie a yellow ribbon around the old oak tree to invite back the soldiers. No, that's not nothing.
I don't want to trivialize it because that's actually become a thing too with missing people.
Without question.
With, you know, wearing yellow. So that really struck me.
It's also a sunny color. I mean, she does seem as upbeat as you can be. She's delivering the news. It's obviously extraordinarily difficult. She was out there for part of it with Jenna Bush Hager, and she was clutching her hand in the beginning, looking at all of this.
Oh, when they went outside.
I love that you guys know about TRL. You got to be that certain age, right? Perps are absolutely watching and they're wanting to control. That's why, in my opinion, they sent 2 letters, not just one, but one in the morning and one in the afternoon. They're pissed, guys. They're seeing her outside of the New York, what is it, Times Square. She's all bright. She's going back to her job. People love her. I assure you, the people that are behind this, they don't have that kind of love and support. And if they do, they shun themselves from it. Those are not shiny, happy people. They're evil, desperate people. All right. So I just want you to realize that what's going on. My interpretation of this is, yes, is she has risen from it. She's mourning and she's using God, not in a bad way. She's using her faith to get her through this.
The outpouring of love. She was holding her hand the whole time and looking at the signs. It's hard to feel anything but warmth over this.
Good she's back, though.
Yeah.
I mean, it's good she's back. And, you know, it's awful what she's going through. This is a cold case. You know, I will share a little bit of news with you. The person who has been incessantly contacting us.
Although
saying,
stopped for a while.
Stopped for a while. Yeah. We got another letter today from this person, an email saying, I know where her body is and who the kidnapper is. Give me half a bit.
And there you go. That's coming straight from them. I know where her body is. They're saying she's in Mexico. That's why I asked you guys. And again, Mom, I promise 66 days in, I will not start selling your stuff and renting out your place. Okay. I will hold out much longer. And not to say that I wouldn't come back to work to get myself focused, but I certainly wouldn't be able to just pack up her stuff and be like, okay, I guess we're just gonna sell it or whatever they're doing. Yes, they are desperate. If you guys are watching, the people that sent the ransom notes to TMZ, you're desperate losers is what you are. All right, let's continue. I doubt they're watching my coverage, but still.
Bitcoin, and I'll tell you, and this person has been really persistent, knowing that if it's a scam, it's a federal crime.
Right. But they also made the point that they wanted to make it clear that they have nothing to do with it.
Right.
They've been out of the country, but...
Yeah, but Derek Colella did the same thing. Derek Colella, guys, was the guy I showed you in the last episode. He's the one that texted Annie and Tommaso and said, we're getting sick of waiting. Where's the Bitcoin? He committed the same crime that this person just did with TMZ. I want you to realize that, okay? So how do those compare to each other? Which one's which? Who's who? Can you hear me now? Good to see you, Rebecca. You guys, Rebecca's in the house. Rebecca Michello. Corey Michelo's grandma. Go sub up to her channel. If you guys could drop the link, that would be great. That is her channel right there. All right. Good to see you, Rebecca. Happy Easter. Late happy Easter.
Who knows?
We forwarded
again. We forwarded to the FBI,
right,
as we have in the past.
Right.
And
no.
For whatever reason, and this is the thing we haven't figured out, you have to assume that the law enforcement, they believe that this person is not legit.
It's already on.
They would have advised Savannah to pay the money.
Yep.
Can we just be really transparent?
Uh-huh.
I think you're right that the law enforcement doesn't. There's something.
I just can't figure out why.
Well, why not take a flyer? The price of Bitcoin is much lower now. These are like, you could just take a flyer and see what the person knows. The most you lose is 20 grand, 25 grand.
I'm telling you, these people are hoping to just get lucky. They're hoping that Savannah's going to lose that faith at night when she takes her makeup off and cries and just going to send over $35,000. I assure you, if she does that or somebody does, they will never hear from that person again until or unless they're able to track that Bitcoin wallet. Okay. I tell you that. What's up, DD Jones? Good to see you. I hope that you're welcome to the crime crew. Good to see you here. All right. And everyone's saying hi, Rebecca. I know that it is, in fact, not a cold case, guys. And I assure you, if you look at my video, new video could break the case. There's more video that they haven't put out, obviously, and we're going to talk about that. But I'm making you guys wait for that discussion until I'm done with the ransom stuff. DJ, what's up? Go sub up to this guy too. He's doing very well.
I'll tell you why. My spidey senses tell me that there's something about this guy, because one of the emails he sent said early on, time is of the essence to do this. And then the next day he said, time is no longer of the essence. If he was pulling a scam, why would you say time is no longer of the essence?
Right. You want to keep the value
you
high.
want to keep
of
the
your
value
information.
high.
Yeah.
And the fact that he said this made me think, this guy knows something.
Yeah, it's a way to look on this as well, though.
I'm not, look,
Right.
I'm not FBI.
We're
I'm
not
not
privy to all the information they are, but
You're talking
just
about
from the outside looking in, it sure seems like this person knows something.
Hi, this is Hannah from Boston. I'm really glad to see Savannah back on the Today Show. There's been some controversy online that I've seen where people are saying that they think she came back too soon. But when something so traumatic happens in your family, I feel like it's only up to her to decide when the time is right to come back. So whether that's today or a year from now, there's no right or wrong. She needs to continue on with her life, and I'm glad to see her back.
100%.
And
people online who are saying that about her need to get lives and let her live hers.
Yeah.
And I agree 110%. Mama Pearl, you're in here. I'm not going to sit there crying if something happens to anybody for too long. So you know that. You've taught me that. You've showed me my faith, Mom. And her mom has showed her faith. And I believe that's what she's doing. All right. Good to see you, Patriot Pride Official. Thank you. Drop their link. All right. Yeah, well, the world is, because the world has such an opinion, don't they? They have the best opinions, don't they? They know everything, don't they? Again, we know nothing. We're looking at this, all right? This is what we got in the first week or so. And then we're looking at this. Some people still can't get on the same page that this kidnapper person has a tattoo. I'm not saying that's a kidnapper, but I assure you that's a kidnapper's tattoo that's been enhanced. He does have a tattoo. Then last week we looked at this guy. Hold on. We looked at this guy and we're like, hey, what's up with this guy? Why is he saying that he did this? All right. And then we got to this and everybody's like, it's so fake. They're in on it. Blah, 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 blah. We don't even know what's going behind the scenes. And now that Rebecca, you still don't understand the emails going to TMZ and not the network Savannah works for or FBI. It's because they want a distraction, Rebecca. That's why we're doing this. They are playing a game, and the game that they're playing is with Savannah's family and her life. And it may be also that they're sending those out there to we don't know if those are actual real kidnappers. Nobody left a ransom note. But here's the number one thing. I'm going to give you the answer to that, Rebecca. They want your attention. They want my attention. They want their attention. They want attention. Kidnappers, ransoms don't want attention from the media. There's a reason for that. All right. Let's continue. What's up, Teresa? Good to see you. It's been a while. The turtleneck dude, that's him right here. That's the turtleneck dude. That's the case that we went over. That's the person we went over last week. And there's Derek Colella. Hey Jay, I'm not sure if you tried to write me back or not, but I have been down with shingles. I'm going to get around to check my emails regarding the Flynn case. All right. Send me an email at guiltyofcrimebyj@gmail.com. If you would. I don't know if I got back to you. I've got a lot of people to get back to. So probably didn't, but if you want to send me that would be awesome. All right, so let's take a look at this, because this breaks it down. This is just lovely. This is going to break it down a lot more. Now everybody's talking about the ransom notes now, and this breaks it down the most. I've watched so many others. This does it for me. This breaks it down more than Brian Enton, more than Nancy Grace. Now, in the Brian Enton video, they're talking about Nancy Guthrie's disappearance, and that the kidnappers say she's in Sonora, Mexico, and no longer alive. All right. TMZ said that they've got two notes from the same day, and they only want their half a Bitcoin, $35,000. Just give it to me. No questions asked. I'll give you the body. Okay. So we all ask the same dang question. Why? Why are they doing that? Why are they sending it? We're going to answer some of those questions today, hopefully. Let's start getting into this so that we can also talk about new footage from Nancy's house.
Everybody, I'm Ashley Banfield. This is Drop Dead
Hold on.
Serious. I have some really big news to share with you about the Nancy Guthrie case. We're on day 65, and I know I already dropped an episode earlier.
Now, we're on day 66, but this explains and talks so much more about the ransom notes and all the things then. And trust me, I've watched Nancy Grace, Brian, and all of them. All right. So I'm summarizing everything, and we're going to come here. Feds don't care about TMZ. Look how fast they arrested Kalela. Exactly. They just want that attention. And of course, they want the money. I mean, they're just shooting their shots. Okay.
Earlier because Savannah returned to the Today Show this morning, but I've learned something from TMZ that I did not know before. And it all comes amid sort of a whole tumble of information about new ransom-like letters that have come into TMZ. So let's be really clear, because it's getting confusing about all of the different letters. But the headline here is that the original letters that came to TMZ and local TV stations in Tucson, there were 2 letters.
All right, you guys got to follow me. And the reason I'm going with this one is because this is the one that's just like, hey, there was 2 there. There's 2 there. Those 2 are this, those 2. I mean, otherwise, it's just like there's ransom letters everywhere. Who's typing and what? Who's sending what? Is it the same Bitcoin wallet? What in the hell is going on? Well, we're going to figure that out today. Hopefully, you guys will understand it. Twin mommy, 2 boys. Much love to you. I hope you can hear me now. All right, let's continue. Yeah, 300 people, 326 people in chat. If y'all can hit that like button, that'd be great. Also, guys, I'm going to gift some memberships. If anyone wants to match me the memberships, that would be awesome as well. They are already looking into the IP address, but you don't think that they have a VPN? You don't think that this person used the VPN? But you don't think FBI is not looking already? What are they doing? What's happening? Again, genetic genealogy is going to be the thing. I'm telling you, genetic genealogy is going to do something. Yeah, get them likes up, please.
They threatened to kill Nancy Guthrie. We had not heard that until now.
We hadn't.
We always knew that there was a consequence threatened if you don't pay by Thursday. Then by Monday, there's a second deadline, and the consequence is that the money goes up. I think to $6 million. But we never heard that the other consequence was that they threatened to kill Nancy Guthrie. And then, of course, after those 2 letters, they went silent. And we never heard anything afterwards. And they didn't give a mode of communication to the FBI, to the police, to TMZ, to KVOA in Tucson, to KGUN in Tucson. And incidentally, KGUN, also called KGUN, they received a second letter from these same people.
Now, are you guys understanding the gravity of how many different letters have come out? All right. Genetic genealogy, it could take a month if it's in the right lab. It could take a year if it's in the wrong lab. And Sheriff Nanos sent that genetic genealogy, the DNA for genetic testing, to a private lab in Florida, where it would have got done faster if FBI would have sent it to their normal place. I believe it's Quantico. Okay, so he already done messed this up. If you were here at the beginning of my show, you see the repercussions of what's happening with Sheriff Nanos during this investigation. You got to know that he's messed things up. All right, the 2 ransom demands to Cold were most likely authentic. All right, let's continue.
And it's known that they're the same people because they had the same Bitcoin address. So the first letter went to KGUN, KVOA, and TMZ. And the second letter just went to KGUN. Don't know why, but it did. But they had the same Bitcoin address. So they're from the same alleged ransom seekers. And that's the one that Savannah refers to in her interview with Hoda Kotb when she says we received, the 2 that we received, we tend to believe are real. And TMZ has also told me that the FBI, with whom they've been working, hand in glove because they're receiving the communications and they're turning them all over to the FBI. The FBI indicated to TMZ that the FBI also believes that those 2 ransom letters are from the kidnappers, the real kidnappers. So let's talk a little bit more about what other notes came in.
Yes, this is what I've been waiting to talk about with you guys. I just didn't know. I mean, I didn't know if it was already out there and I just couldn't find it. I didn't know. All right. I just talked to Tex and commented the exact same thing, but the first time it didn't go through, all because I didn't put, in my opinion. Well, Kitty Hawk, you're good. We see you. I just gifted a membership. If you receive that membership, come on in and say hello. If anyone wants to match a membership, that's awesome. So guys, not go for 1.2 million. Well, because they listen, guys, they want it quick and fast, and they're hoping for just a payday. I'm telling you right now, so thank you, Duke. If Savannah Guthrie went right now onto her Bitcoin wallet, went to the Bitcoin and send it, we would not hear a thing, in my opinion, from that person again. All right.
Because it started to get confusing. Then there were text messages that went to Annie and Tommaso. Annie is Savannah's sister. Tommaso, named Tommy, is her husband. There were text messages that went to those 2. And there were 2 separate messages. And an FBI's, or I should say a federal affidavit, lists out a man in California who was arrested. Derek Colea is his name.
Okay, are you guys following me? Because I don't even think everybody knows how many ransom letters there have been and who and what, because it's just all over the place. KK Sullivan, welcome to the Guilty of Crime crew. Thank you. Well, we're going to gift memberships. We always do. Hopefully you get one. The more you talk, the more you communicate, hit the like, the more better chance you have. You're absolutely welcome. I know it's getting confusing. I need a flow chart too, and that's why I'm covering it. Kitty Hawk says, in my professional opinion, Bitcoin people and persons are hoaxers. There's 1.2 million offered for Nancy. Make it make sense. 110%. I'm with you. But I still think there's validity or a connection to the people of those people. All right. Thank you. I appreciate that. Wow.
They say he was scamming.
Thank you.
They arrested him for scamming. To my knowledge, they don't believe he's involved in this. He hasn't been charged with kidnapping or anything related to the disappearance of Nancy Guthrie, just the attempt to extort money. So he's facing those federal charges in the near future. He's made his appearance.
So you guys got to ask then, Derek Colella was already arrested for doing the same thing, right? That you got it right. They should arrest Tommaso. They should arrest Tommaso with the Derek Colella. They should have got search warrants, and we don't know if they did or not. Remember this, guys. Derek Colella is the guy that's connected through the band people. There's a big flow chart and connections that went directly to Annie and Tommaso, send text message if we're getting sick, and then called for 9 seconds and hung up. Okay. So if they're looking at that guy connected to them, do you think that they have search warrants for Annie and Tommaso's phones and electronics? We don't even know that. Well, they're not going to ask for the full amount, guys, because they're just trying to get what they can. If they're a hoaxer, they're just trying to get what they can. They're trying to find a weakest moment of Savannah Guthrie where she has a weak moment and says, I'm just going to pay. That's what they're hoping for, in my humble opinion.
I believe either he was extradited or he brought himself to Arizona to make a court appearance in the initial offings of that case. But that's a different set of letters. And then come the third set of letters. And these are the letters from somebody who has reached out repeatedly, a half dozen times to TMZ to say, I'm not the kidnapper, but I know who they are, using the words they.
Okay, so are you guys clear on this so far? There's been 3 different sets of ransom notes. There were the first set of ransom notes, which went to TMZ, second set of ransom notes, which went to the local news station, and now the third set of ransom notes that went to TMZ. TMZ does say that it came from the same people, same verbiage, same people. They're asking for the same Bitcoin wallet. So there you have. A lot of people don't realize that there was a second set, and they don't realize that the text message was sent directly to Andy and Tommaso. All right. They don't realize that.
Every time there's a reference, whether it's they in the singular, as some people use, or they in the plural, we don't know. But I know who they are. And for 1 Bitcoin, I'm willing to turn that information and, quote, hand them over on a silver platter. Those emails went into TMZ early on as well. Okay. Many thought that they were phony. Not necessarily TMZ, though. The information started with time is of the essence. And then suddenly, just within a day, I think, time is no longer of the essence. And that's important to Harvey Levin, because he said, if this guy isn't real, why would he downgrade the importance of his information, or the fact that he could deliver either alive or dead Nancy Guthrie? Either one, there's value there. Why would he diminish that himself if he didn't know for sure? That's the gut feeling of Harvey. And then you're going to hear from Harvey Levin in just a moment. And he's going to...
Yes, that's why we're going directly to the source. First, we got on to Brian Etten a little bit, which he's just having the same kind of discussion, but without the folks that got it. So we're going to, in just a minute, Harvey Levin's going to come on here and talk with us and Ashley Banfield about the time of the essence. Now the time is no longer of essence. We never heard about them saying, we never heard them say straight out, Nancy's dead. This is the first time we've heard boldly and clearly Nancy's dead. Now, we assumed, a lot of us, we assumed and we said, well, statistically, she's no longer alive. But that's what they're saying to the family. One was in the morning and the other one was in the afternoon, Tucson girl. They didn't give us the hours, but we know morning and afternoon. Morning could be 7, 8 o'clock in the morning, and afternoon could be 2, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock. Otherwise, it becomes evening. So we'll use our common sense with that. 1 in the morning, 1 in the evening.
To tell you everything
or
about
afternoon
what they went through at TMZ today, but I do want to read for you. So I didn't make Harvey read on camera. I'm going to read for you their communications. And so first off, Harvey and Charles Ladabodiere, they went live on TMZ to say they've received another communication today from the guy who says he has the information. He knows who those kidnappers are and he wants to turn them in, but he wants a Bitcoin. Wants half a Bitcoin now, half a Bitcoin upon the arrest. And they said the news that sort of was made with this initial overture in an email to TMZ today was that Nancy's dead. That this person said, Nancy is not alive. She is dead. That's what TMZ says. But he's still willing to turn these people in. And so Harvey Levin and Charles Ladabodiere did their TMZ lives telling the news that they had received this email communication from this same person.
And again, we're going to hear it in a minute, guys. Stay here. Pray to bring Nancy Guthrie home. I really do think that the reason they did that on the timing was, number one, Savannah went back to work, and number two, the message that she put out just irked the crap out of them. They couldn't even keep their hands still enough to not send that second letter because they were so damn pissed off. All right. So let's continue. Tommaso is involved, in my opinion. I do too, but it's not cold. I don't know why they're saying that. Let's continue.
Who they've received each time, because it's the same Bitcoin address each time. So the half dozen communications about, I know who the kidnappers are and I'm willing to turn them in, is always from the same person with the same Bitcoin account. But after they did their live broadcast, they got another email from him, her, whoever.
You see?
They got another email after their live address. And this one is more specific. They said, in the second letter, quote, I saw her alive with them in the state of Sonora, Mexico. Interesting.
Okay, so I mean, I have never heard a full sentence of these letters. So I hope that you guys are not only like and subscribe, but make sure to share this, because I think people really need to understand what the ransom details are, how many were released, and to who. Thus far, we've got TMZ they've sent it to. We've got the local news stations and Annie and Tommaso. Okay? Yes, y'all hit that like button.
I saw her alive with them in the state of Sonora, Mexico. Okay? And then this is where the sender starts to get angry. They're frustrated that the FBI isn't taking them seriously and said this, quote, "It is unbelievable that millions have been wasted, and yet here I am waiting to deliver them on a silver platter since the 11th of February for a Bitcoin, but I am disregarded as a scam. They are free to send. They are free and the case is frozen, but the egos remain hot when it comes to me. Arrogance at its finest," end quote. And then you should note that the price of Bitcoin.
I'm telling you guys, that is seething. All right. I don't believe she's in Mexico either, but that is seething AF. They were so mad. And remember, every time you send a message to TMZ, you got to make sure that it's this and that and this so they can't find you. They were so mad that they freaking sent a letter. TMZ came out, told us about the letter, and they sent another one later on in the evening because they were so seething and mad about the message that Savannah sent and her going back to work. That gives you a little bit of an idea of the motivation here. All right. Say what? We get pieces, which is so crazy the public can't help, right? Right? Sheriff Nanos said he made up the kidnapping. What? I don't even know what. Show me where.
Dropping, and so now it's a lot less. A half a Bitcoin's about $35,000. And TMZ made this deal saying, look, we could get the ransom money for you, right? You tell us the information, we tell the FBI, therefore there's a record that you're part of it because the guy didn't believe he was going to get the ransom money, but we still can't figure out why you wouldn't go for the $1.2 million instead of the, half a Bitcoin's 35,000. Maybe if you get the full Bitcoin upon the arrest, it's only like 70,000 compared to 1.2 million in ransom money. So this isn't in reward money. So this isn't making a whole lot of sense. But you'll hear why Harvey is unable to impart that wisdom on this letter sender. They also are distant.
Good to see you, Ebony. How you doing, girl? Always happy to see you. My pleasure. Damn, go ahead and fake a ransom, or is it? Exactly. Yeah, Sonora, Mexico is huge. Borders, AZ. I just don't think that's the case. I think that the more people involved, the more people talk, and that's why this person, and it could be through a separate source. This could be a friend of a friend of a friend of the band member, but somebody within the proximity wants a payday and they want it now and they're tired of it. And they're hoping that just with one little tiny bit of, catching Savannah, especially because she has the money, catching Savannah at a low point, that they're just going to get a piece of that. You hear how mad they are, right? They're literally mad, talking about how they're being disregarded by egos. All right, let's continue.
Themselves from Nancy's kidnapping, saying they're not the ones to do it. They said that they've been out of the country for more than 5 years and had nothing to do with the horrific crime, just that they know who it was who did it. And in the second note, they said they're not motivated by greed. This is what they said. The motivation was, quote, "I just want what's fair and to live peacefully with enough to start my life again quietly without having to join a witness protection program." Again, I don't know what 70,000 is going to get you in terms of trying to live your life out peacefully.
Right.
If you're afraid of these kidnappers, right? Because 1.2 million would be a lot better. It would be a lot.
And everybody's asking that same question, but all I can take from this is that somebody wants a piece of that pie. They don't want to talk to the FBI. They don't want to be jammed up in an interrogation. And maybe they do know. Maybe, just maybe, they heard one of their cousins or uncles or somebody talk about it and they think they know something. Now, I want to read this because I want everyone to know no one has been cleared by FBI, including the family. FBI says the family's withholding info from the FBI. FBI says families withholding info from them. Interesting. But I wanted to read that because, guys, nobody's cleared. Nobody's cleared. I want you to realize that. Okay? Annie's not cleared. Tommaso's not cleared. Nobody. All right, let's continue. I can't even believe John Ramsay was talking about that. Did you know this? Did you know that? John Ramsay and there's, listen, over the last 2 decades, how many kidnappings have we heard of where we're following it every single day, yada, yada, yada. How many times has it happened? Well, we know it happened to John Ramsay with John Bonet. All right, let's continue. That's wild. And he had something to say about it. We might listen to that later.
A lot more money to buy yourself some safety if that's the concern. A couple of other things that I want to let you know is that TMZ, I mentioned they've been working hand in hand with the FBI by giving them all of the communications that they receive. But it has been a two-way street. And Harvey Levin is going to tell you in just a moment what the FBI has been doing with TMZ, because they have been busy working with TMZ. I know that there are a lot of people out there who say, what's TMZ got to do with anything? A lot, because that's where the communications are coming in. And so the FBI is taking it very seriously, and they are doing a lot with TMZ. That's coming in just a moment. But first, I want you to hear from Harvey Levin. He was super busy today, but he stepped aside to do a quick interview with me. First, a quick note from my sponsor. Let's face it, I cover some pretty dark stuff, right? Some of the darkest stuff out there. But let me tell you, some of the scariest stuff actually happening very quietly behind your screen.
All right, so we're not going to... Bowie, no. Hold on, guys. Sorry, y'all.
Cogni.com/
We've gotten more than a half dozen emails from this person. This is somebody who says they know who the kidnappers are, plural, and where Nancy Guthrie is.
And again, I think we can all agree at this point. I don't know if we can all agree. This is not a lone wolf. All right. Yeah, you know, they would be extradited back to the United States. So, but the problem is, if they took her body to Mexico and buried it somewhere, we're never going to find it unless somebody tells us, because people aren't just walking around in that area hiking. All right. This weekend, I'm sure I saw many cases, and one of them was children were Easter egg hunting, and they found the remains of a human. Right, that happens in the United States. I assure you, in Mexico, if it happens, they don't say a thing. They swoop it away. There's a dead body. We're done and over with. All right, let's continue. What about the guy from the other night who confessed? Exactly. That's who we're talking about still, Holly. I'm wondering the same thing.
We haven't heard from this person in almost a month.
There
but
you go.
Today we got 2 notes from him. And, you know, he is persisting. Now he wants half a Bitcoin, and he will divulge the location. Now, he says that she is in Sonoma.
Sonora, Mexico. Now, remember, this guy is just working around the clock. His breaking news is every minute. He really should go take a nap for a bit. Yes. This ransom note says they know where her body's buried. In previous ransom notes, they said she was dead already. And so that's why I think that Savannah is already grieving. All right? Already grieving. Ronald Lopez, that's who you're talking about. Mothers Can Help. This is where Sonoran Mothers Can Help. All right. Yeah, they're not good. Exactly. They do whatever they want in Mexico. We're not going to be out there hiking and finding bodies, I assure you. And if you do, I wouldn't tell anyone, because they'll lock you up and extort you.
Mexico, and says she is dead, but says that he can lead them to the kidnapper. And so, you know, he said this before, but, you know, he is kind of repeating what he told us early on, which is she was no longer alive as of the Wednesday after she was kidnapped.
Yeah.
And the interesting thing is, you have turned all of these communications over to the FBI.
Yep.
They won't tell you. They won't tell anybody what they do with them. But I mean, you're privy to the Bitcoin wallet.
Yeah. And so far, no money has been deposited.
Hold on.
And look, I've talked to the FBI, and I've frankly said to them, look, I'm not you, and you clearly know a heck of a lot more than me, but my spidey senses are...
Now, unfortunately, guys, this is the video. I've got a booster on the video. I've got my stream my stream deck all the way up. I've got all my volume as much as I can up. I can't change the volume. Unfortunately, Ashley Banfield is actually louder than Harvey Levin, and I can't even control that. So my apology. I turned off the AC to see if maybe hear better.
Just telling me something about this guy, because they asked me a long time ago to put the word out, which we did, that anybody who is, doing this as a hoax to get money would be prosecuted by the federal government. And this person wrote back and said, I understand that. I am not in any way hoaxing. This is real. And then the other thing that just got me was, I believe it was the Tuesday after Nancy Guthrie was kidnapped. Yeah. He sent us this note saying, I know where she is. I know who the kidnappers are. Time is of the essence. That was on a Tuesday. On Wednesday, we got another note from the same person, but said, time is no longer of the essence.
All right. So is everybody on the same page with me about all of this? We're talking about new ransom details released, new ransom letters, which letters have gone where we are in the case. And don't forget, we're not even to the new video that could break this case wide open, guys. We haven't even got to that. We have 369 people. Do me a favor, hit that like button. Share this video if you would. Now, Tucson girl, I got to tell you right now, I actually don't think that person speaks English as a first language. I think that the person does not speak English as a first language, and they use their skills and then threw it through some AI. I absolutely don't think that English is their first language. I'm going to tell you that right now. By the way things are worded, it sounds like either a child is talking or somebody that didn't speak English very well. Okay? In my opinion. Sick AF. Yes.
Meaning, I think, she is no longer alive, right? Well, if somebody is carrying out a hoax, why would they take the immediacy away and say she's no longer alive? That made it feel to me like there's something legit, because why would he take away the incentive to get the money fast?
Or take away the incentive for a bigger payout.
It's just bugged me that there's something about it that I just thought I took more seriously. They have very consciously looked at this. They've tried to find out who this is, but they are not convinced enough to pay that money.
I think they're not convinced enough to pay that money. There's no sense of urgency anymore. It's like, hey, she's now a body. You guys didn't pay in time. You didn't take me serious. Now take me serious for half a Bitcoin. No, I think you thinking they spoke good English is possibly because they used AI. And I'm not saying that from like just me perspective. With everything I've watched today and like all of the different, ex-FBI and blah, blah, blah. They said it looks like somebody like chopped something together and then threw it into AI. Like it's not a person's continuous letter. Like if I were to say, hey, I'm the kidnapper, I want my money, you pissed me off, blah, blah, blah. I can say that I speak English, but I think that they absolutely put it together in AI and that's how it came out. But hey, that's just my opinion.
And I know that as of a conversation I had with the FBI today.
And so to be clear, because I think a lot of people are getting confused about all the different ransom notes, Savannah herself made a comment to Hodakotbi saying, the 2 ransom notes we received, I tend to believe they're real. Those are the ones that originally came to you, correct? And KVOA and I think another Tucson local station?
Yeah. So there are 2 different things we're talking about. These notes that I've just mentioned are people, not somebody who was a kidnapper, somebody who says he knows where the kidnapper is and where Nancy is. The ransom notes you're referring to, yes, there were 2. They were written by the same person. We know that because it has the same Bitcoin address in both. We received the first one along with 2 Tucson stations, the local stations. The second one was sent to just one local station there, K-Gun, but it's from the same person. I know.
I mean, are you guys paying attention to this and charting this out? Because one was sent here, the other one was sent to K-Gun, TMZ, Annie, and Tommaso. And yes, that's a big indicator when they say essence. It's of the essence. I do not think that they I do not think that was coming from them. I think they ran it through AI. Now, you say if Kalela is smart, he's talking. Feds know way more in my guess. So the all TMZ notes fake, not a priority. Huh. All right, let's continue.
That the FBI believes that those ransom notes are real, that is from the kidnapper. They have done everything they can, from what I understand, to figure out who sent these notes. They were on with my IT team for hours and hours and hours, working with my IT team, and they came up dry. And they could not find it, and they still haven't found out who wrote it. This is a cold case, and they're just waiting for one of those breaks that often comes, but they are at a dead end right now.
You heard from the FBI that they believed those first two overtures were really from the kidnappers as opposed to scammers overseas or some ne'er-do-well?
Yes, and they are from the same person.
Holy cow. So when Savannah said that, she must have had that indication from the FBI. They must
see. That's what I'm telling you. There's different levels and different people. There's people, obviously there's a person or people that went to the door that night and did the whole flower thing. They did a pre-trial run before. All right, the back doors were propped open. All of this is not confusing if you look at it from 1,000-foot view. Just think of it in the simplest way. What's up? Oh, yeah. Think of it in the most simple way, 1,000-foot view. Take out all the nonsense and stuff that they're throwing in to fake you out, okay? Just remember who stands the most, right? Who are the people that were there or are there? And are those the real letters, the first two? And why did FBI tell Harvey Levin that, right? Why can't they track? That's what they did track already. They absolutely tracked him and they arrested him. Derek Kalela is the one that sent the letter. He got arrested. He got charged. And I showed the charging documents. He still has to go to court for doing that. All right, let's continue.
Have told her that they thought that they were real.
Yeah. Now, what I don't understand is that she was going to pay and for whatever reason, they backed off. They had a reason for backing off. And I know they did something. I don't feel comfortable saying it, but they did because they had asked me not to way back then. I don't know if it's changed at this point, but they thought they had a way of tracking that Bitcoin address. Didn't work.
Holy cow. And there's been no other communications ever since those two, right? Like there was the first note that said, you've got deadlines, right? You've got a Thursday deadline and then you got a Monday deadline. And then that second one that went to K-Gun, you said. And how was the second ransom note different from the first? What was it suggesting?
I never saw it. I never saw it, but I don't think it changed the game from what I'm being told by the FBI, that they believe from the same person. It had to be because
now you got to remember. Okay, so now he's saying it's from the same person. I also want you to remember that they asked for $1 million, and then it went up. Right, it got all the way up to 6 million. Yes, it came through email. So that's the whole situation here. It's like we're on day 66, and TMZ got a ransom letter about 2 days in. Why isn't FBI able to trace that? Well, because there's a bunch of things behind that. VPN, they could have been on someone else's Wi-Fi and behind a VPN. We just don't know. Yeah, we talked about that. Definitely. Of course, the FBI knows more, but the FBI is not telling us anything. Yeah, TMZ talks about them sending it to them, and the only thing they can gather from the kidnappers sending the notes to TMZ is that they want attention. They want Savannah's attention. They want your attention. They want the world's attention. They're not so fixated on the money as they are the control and the power that they're having over you, me, the family, the household, Annie and Tommaso, right? All right, let's continue.
The Bitcoin address is the same. And or they just told me that it was
a text
from the same person.
All right, listen, guys, I didn't even realize I was doing this, or like on my thumbnail, it says ransom letter, and it's a typical, none of the letters are handwritten letters. All right. It was a text message. any of the ransom notes are not notes. They're either emails or text messages. So I apologize, Mo Frano, thank you, or Mo Franjo, thank you for saying that, because I'm just calling them ransom letters. Okay. One was a text message, two were text messages to Annie and Tommaso, and the other are emails. There's no letter, right? We're in 2026, right? People don't even use letters and pens like that anymore. All right. They better have used a VPN. So my apologies. I hope I corrected myself now. There's no real letter, so to speak. It's 2026 letter, right? All right, let's continue. My bad.
And those folks at KGUN never did disclose the contents of their note.
They've never talked about it. We don't know what's in it. We didn't read it, but it didn't change the game. The person who wrote that first note, they believe is a kidnapper, and they have just come up dry.
And we know that they used the same Bitcoin address in the note that went to you and the two stations and to KGUN. That second note, they all had the same Bitcoin
That's
address.
what I'm told.
So the interesting thing is, Harvey, if you think back, and it's hard now with 64 or so odd days.
Now, I want you guys to understand that we are day 66, that of course there's speculation. People are saying JLR did it, or another YouTube creator did it to cover the, cover the case and have more content. Guys, this is a federal crime. You will be federally charged and prosecuted if you're caught being behind a fake ransom note. Now, Derek Colella is a good example. I showed you his charging documents in the last episode or the episode before. He is going to be held accountable. That's because the kidnapper's the one that said she's in Mexico, dead. Bluntly said, Nancy's dead, her body's in Mexico. That's the first time we've ever heard this. We haven't even heard any of the verbiage from these notes until today.
Savannah and her family did a second or subsequent address on Instagram saying, we understand. We've heard your communication and we understand. And we just now want her back with us so we can celebrate with her. And we're willing to pay. And that to many people sounded like, we've heard what you've said. We understand what's happened. We still want a body back. Like it sounded as though they had made an overture that maybe Nancy died.
I agree. I mean, that's the way I took it as well. Again, if you believe the guy who's been writing us these notes,
Harvey Levin really needs to take a nap and then come back. All right. Poor guy. He looks like he's about to fall over. All right. And that's another thing. You're right. Thank you, Carrie. It's also because the Mexican border isn't too far away. And so they're assuming it was a Hispanic guy in the video, which equals Mexico. And there's a lot of people that are Mexican or Hispanic in that area that cross back and forth to the border. But now the ransom note says she's dead and her body's in Mexico. Patricia, my girl, how you doing, my friend? Good to see you.
she died somewhere between Tuesday and Wednesday after she was kidnapped. And I don't know whether that's because, look, and they said in the letter that they would kill her if they didn't get the $6 million by that Monday. So it's unclear whether this was foul play or she died because, she was ill, she didn't have her meds. So I have no idea. But if you believe this guy, it happened somewhere between Tuesday and Wednesday.
So the ransom letters did threaten to kill her.
Yes.
Oh. All right. And so let's be clear.
And I want to say one other thing.
Yeah.
When I talked to somebody from the FBI today, this person wanted us to repeat that there is still a $1 million, actually $1.1 million reward out there. So, they're hoping because they believe money can be a motivator here. And that's why they're doing it. They wanted that word out because they feel like people have kind of forgotten it. But there's a lot of money on the line for information.
And I think it's even up to 1.2 million with the different sources. But 1-800-CALL-FBI. I say it on every podcast, 1-800-CALL-FBI. If you know anything, if anybody acted weird,
Yeah, they're not. I don't know nowadays about getting into Mexico, but when I've gone there previously, they don't care what I have to get in. I mean, they're like, whatever. It's the coming out that they have a problem with. So if somebody was coming in and out, and I apologize about the volume, guys. You guys, if you have earphones, put them in because I cannot do anything with the volume. I apologize. Just if pop an earphone in or turn the volume to 100. I don't like that it does that, but I have it in the bottom. You can read it, guys. Sorry. Oh, hit that like button. We have 361 people and only 200 some likes. Come on, guys. Get yourself a membership. Gift yourself a membership. We have our goal. Thank you. We're getting to our goal.
On February 1st, even 2nd, 3rd, 4th, or 5th of the next week, when the video came out of the masked man, that guy had to be scared. He had to act differently that day. I always say for people who think that someone they know acted in a weird way in those dates, 1-800-CALL-FBI. Harvey, the letters that came out today to you, it seems like there's a mixed message. Like in the first letter, does he say she's dead? And then the second letter to you today, he says, I saw her alive with them in Sonora.
No, he never said she was alive at all. He says she.
You see, we're getting into finally the verbiage of the ransom letters. And this is the first time I've heard any of this. All I've heard is ransom letters and you better give it to me. And then the price, $1 million, $2 million, $6 million. This is like, I mean, this is definitely eye-opening for me. And after this, when we cover what's behind me, you see that house behind me with the cameras and the solar panels. Y'all are gonna, if you didn't see it before, y'all are gonna shit just a little bit probably when you see the cameras and where they actually point to and where they were. Okay, you really are. Patricia says you only need a visa for Mexico if you plan on staying. There you go. All right. OJ, I'm wearing the white long sleeve shirt with your face on it, supporting guilty of crime in Augusta, Maine. Well, shout out to you, twin mommy, 2 boys, Melissa. Somebody was eating my face earlier. Who was eating my face off of Oreo cookies or something like that? Oh, it was it was Sadie's mama. Sadie's mama is eating Oreo cookies with my face on it. So I want you guys to know, and thank you for bringing that up. We have merch, guys. We have merch. Go to guiltyofcrime.com and buy some merch. Tiff, or who Tiff is not in chat today, but mods, would you drop the link for merch for Tiff, please? All right. You don't need a visa to go to Mexico. Yeah, I know. I didn't think you did. I never would. It's been a while, but not that long, guys. I'm in California. I travel frequently down to San Diego area, and San Diego is minutes. Where we go is minutes away from the border of Mexico. It's not hard to get in. It's the getting out part.
He's dead.
But he just said after you talked about when you did your TMZ live today, they sent a second letter saying, quote, I saw her alive with them in the state of Sonora, Mexico. Maybe he's referring in past tense because in the first letter they said she's dead.
It's past tense. It's past tense. Yeah,
and so now
I saw her. No, he's saying I saw her alive with them in the state of Sonora, Mexico. My request is not huge, and he goes on. He's talking about. He says he saw her there, but he's talking
past
back
tense.
then.
Yeah, and now he's definitive that
yeah.
Nancy. He says if this person is truthful, he's saying that Nancy is dead.
Now again, I talked to the FBI about this. I had a fairly long conversation today, and it's just I've gotten to know some of these people, and we were just talking, and I said, look, I feel.
And you got to know that the person or persons that did this to go to TMZ did this methodically. They thought about what they were going to do, who they're going to send it to. They're going to have Google searches on the news station and how to get directly to the Harvey Levin at TMZ. They put thought into this, and they're seething right now. They're seething that Savannah Guthrie is going to be back on the Today Show tomorrow. They didn't get paid a damn thing. And the house is just being closed up and we're moving on, so to speak. Put a lid on it. So the FBI said there's no kidnapping, no stalker of the daughter, and no ransom notes. That's interesting. Very interesting.
Kind of out of place to even say it, but there's just something that's been gnawing at me with these letters that You know, this guy knows it's a federal crime. He keeps
Yes.
sending these notes.
Yes.
And it was that whole thing about time is no longer of the essence. And they said, yeah, we hear you, but you know, there are a lot of crackpots out there. So maybe they know something. I mean, I'm sure they do that I don't know. But on the one hand, they seem to be dismissing it. On the other hand, I can tell you they spent a heck of a lot of time trying to track down this guy's email, and they weren't able to do it. I'll tell you, that's the craziest thing about this, Ashley, is that this is 2026.
Yes.
And when you
Yes.
look at it,
Yes. Jen
it's like a
Soto.
perfect crime that I didn't think that existed anymore, but that you can kidnap somebody from a residential area where there are cameras that people have in their homes.
And especially that area out in the, kind of middle of nowhere, so to speak. I mean, the houses are far in between each other, right? You would think that there'd be a ring on every single house, every single roof, how are they doing this? But yeah, of course, we're not going to trust TMZ and what they're saying about the letters. I definitely want, and what's up, Danielle? Good to see you, my friend. FBI is not going to talk to us. So this is the best we're going to get. And we do not want Nancy Guthrie's name to just fall to the wayside where they're not getting any more leads. All right. So that's where we are right now. And they do have other footage and other videos. And I'm telling you, they haven't released them all, but they do. And we're going to talk about that right after this.
And yet you can't find the car. And that you've got these emails and you can't trace the emails. And you got these Bitcoin addresses.
And you can't trace the Bitcoin.
The FBI did something with that Bitcoin address from the kidnapper. And they actually did something, came up dry there. And I just never thought of a perfect crime being something like this,
right?
Where somehow you could evade everyone. Now, there were clearly mistakes made, especially by the sheriff. Nonetheless, the FBI came in and they got nothing. And in 2026, it is really stunning.
Yeah, I mean, you've got all of the opportunities for the regular forensics to work, right? A guy's got a bite light in his mouth, which he had to put in and take out, maybe with those gloved fingers, and touch something.
And guys, just because we didn't cover it, it doesn't mean that I'm not hearing about what happens with the DNA from the bite light, etc. I believe that was just a pure mess up by Sheriff Nanos. That rug is still sitting out there, and the bite light, and even the plants, the shrubbery that he put. I watched or listened to the person that does forensic and DNA, and they said you can extract DNA for even the smallest amount from that bite light, and him touching touching his gloves, and then the gloves touching that. They screwed up. Yeah, it's too late to get more evidence at the home. And yes, Duke, I'd be happy to cover the Rex court hearing. I was going to cover it, but then he pled guilty and I didn't know where to go with that. So if you would send me an email to my guiltyofcrimebyj@gmail.com, I would definitely be happy to cover and help.
Handles to get in, the actual bracket behind the camera, which he's messing with. There's all sorts of opportunities to find that, right? There's a vehicle that he had to have conveyed Nancy in. You can't take her on a bike or a moped, Then there's the digital trail, and none of this is working.
It's crazy. And we cover so many cases, as do you, where, people make mistakes, they get spotted, and he just disappeared.
Yeah, vanished. And as did she, which is just so. Tell me about the frustration in this latest email from this.
Right. We're going to continue this. We have 370 people in chat. There's a lot of people in here that are not green. It makes me sad. Green is actually my favorite color in real life. Like I love green. That's my color. So I'm going to go ahead and drop 5 memberships on y'all. If anyone wants to match me, cool. If not, it's cool too. A lot of corruption everywhere, my friend, everywhere. And yes, much love to you, Deb. All right, let's continue. Annie and husband, closest suspects, and Savannah has clout to protect them. I still don't understand if looking for black gloves while searching, then why the other color gloves research to cut down on confusion. Oh, yeah. I don't even know how to answer that. Well, I just read it. There's no
Perpetrator, or at least the person who suggests he knows the perpetrators. I would consider this a perpetrator as well. He feels like millions of dollars have been wasted, yet here I am willing to deliver them on a silver platter, meaning willing to deliver the
For half a
kidnappers. And he's talking plural. I don't know if he's talking about them in plural or them in the singular
he's
sense.
constantly talked about them in plural.
He is.
Yeah.
There you go.
He seems angry that the FBI is dismissing him.
You think?
He's been kind of bent out of shape from almost the beginning, saying everybody thinks I'm crazy. They don't take me seriously. He's gone on and on about this. And he says, you know, at different times, at one point he said he had a criminal record. I forgot what he said the crime was, but it was some kind of burglary or something like that. And that he was worried that they might try and implicate him, and he would have to go underground, take care of his family, he said. And that's why he needed the money.
I mean, guys, let's be real. $35,000 is not going to let you go underground and run away from anything. If this freaking loser that's sending those messages really knows, I'm just pissed about it, because if this were my mother that was happening to, I'd be very pissed that this person was toying with the case. All right. So this person, I wish they would be able to track them, but this person it's just not realistic. It's not believable the way he's going. If he really needed to get out of town and all that, they would give him the $1.2 million to tell. It wouldn't be anonymous from them, but they're not going to put him in the newspaper. I think it's all BS. It's even $2 million is not enough, guys. I hate to say that and sound like an asshole, but $2 million will be spent like that. I live in the Bay Area, San Jose, California. For you guys that live in big cities like New York, LA, and all the big cities, no, gas is over $6 a gallon. All right. Prices are high. Rent is $2,000 for a 1-bedroom. All right. So I assure you that is not, in my opinion, if that person does know, they're assholes for not saying something. And why not just get the whole reward? All right. I hope some of you guys got memberships. I mean, he seems more mad than scared. All right. I hope you guys got the memberships if you needed one. And if anyone wants to get a membership, gift a membership, or help towards a goal, that'd be awesome.
So, you know, he's kind of given this life story in kind of a weird way over a series of letters. But that's his point. He's saying that I'm going to be put out a lot by cooperating. So make it worth my while.
What doesn't
worth
make sense?
my while is
Nothing.
Bitcoin. And now he's saying, give me half a Bitcoin up front and
Yeah.
I'll give you the info.
Half a Bitcoin is about $35,000. A full Bitcoin is about 70,
Where?
69 or so today. It's gone down since the original overtures, but $1.2 million would certainly guarantee him a whole lot of freedom and protection from whoever.
Oh, I guess not a whole lot, but I mean, I guess if you're going to take 1.2 million and kind of just grift off of it, maybe, but that's just not enough money. I assure you. Yeah, interesting. 389 in Pennsylvania. Yeah, it's all suspicious. I think there's a bunch of red herrings in this case, and it's not helping that it's such a public case. The way that it was displayed to TMZ in the news station was not how a kidnapper would do that.
It is he fears. It just doesn't make any sense. Are you able to email him back?
No, it doesn't work. It doesn't work. Yeah, and we, you know, he addressed the reward. I don't know if he addressed it after they made it 1 million, but when it was 100,000, he said, I don't trust the FBI. That's why he started contacting us. He said, I don't trust the FBI. So, you know, he said, we're going to you guys. And we ended up doing, you know, social media, which he saw. And we said, look, if you don't trust the FBI, give us the information and we'll convey it to the FBI. Yeah. But now you've got a record through us that you've given us information. So they're not going to screw you out of the money if you really believe they would do that, because we have the record that you gave it to us and we gave it to the FBI, but he didn't do it.
Well, you're playing checkers, and maybe he's playing chess, and suddenly he didn't.
I doubt it. I think we're playing chess and he's playing checkers. I think we're giving this person or people more credit than they deserve. All right. Yes. Thank you guys. I hope you guys enjoy the memberships. We have to pray so good that it confuses, that finds us confess. The world. Oh, yeah. Yeah. It's pretty bad out there. Thank you. Thank you, sir. TMZ involved in cover up, Savannah connected. Interesting. Maybe yes. Okay, let me tell you something real quick. So there's another speaker today, and I want you guys to understand that all channels are having either ex FBIs or profilers, and there's every channel. So Brian Enton went on today and talked about the Sonora, Mexico situation, and that Nancy Guthrie is no longer alive, according to the multiple emails received by TMZ. You guys want to hear something funny? It's not funny, but TMZ says, Harvey Levin says, and it could be a lie, that FBI has advised anybody, TMZ, Savannah Guthrie, anybody, not to pay the $30,000 or $35,000 ransom. And and the speaker that is behind that on the investigation says that that the speaker differentiate. Okay, so he talks about the TMZ notes from earlier notes that were sent to Tucson, which FBI and Savannah considered legitimate. Okay. And what he says, his name's Detective Brian Martin. He offers two perspectives on the ransom notes. Now, he's saying they're either from someone seeking attention or a legitimate party involved. Well, duh, right? That's like the most basic Occam's razor. He also says that it's suspicious that the person's asking for a smaller amount of Bitcoin when there's a larger reward, as we know. Now, he also talks about the difficulty in tracking the senders, even for the FBI, due to obviously the gloves and the fake accounts, which I can't fathom that the FBI can't trace a freaking email or 6. You know how many emails they've sent to Harvey Levin? Are they really not? You're saying it's a true crime, but a cover up. Interesting. I don't even think we're there yet for closure. We haven't even got halfway through this.
Know what to do other than just rant and get angry and just try again. I know your time is precious, and I'm just very appreciative of the time that you've given us. Keep me posted. Let me know if you hear again.
Yeah, I mean, you'll be my second call.
Right.
Honestly, we're giving everything to the FBI when we get it. I just don't think they are looking at this in a real serious way. And I'm not saying they're wrong. I'm just telling you what my spidey senses say. And I may be all wrong here too.
1-800-CALL-FBI. Anybody who sees this, and we've got thousands watching. So thank you, Harvey. I appreciate you telling us about this.
My pleasure, Ashley.
So there you have it. I could have talked to Harvey a lot longer, but he is wall to wall today. Obviously, he's got a lot going on with 2 communications from somebody who is committing a federal crime, by demanding money for information, leading to, where Nancy Guthrie might be. And he's working with the FBI, as you heard, hand in glove, right? That the FBI has spent hours at the offices of TMZ.
And of course they have. The ransom notes came into there. So guys, I assure you that TMZ is probably not changing, all right? Not sending, ransom letters to themselves. I don't think that any YouTubers are sending them ransom letters. This is a federal offense. I think it's somebody, either just some straight up hoaxer. Again, I'm looking at this Detective Martin guy that Brian Enton just had on, and Detective Martin says if he were in charge, he would re-interview all of the people of interest and the witnesses. Nobody would be cleared. They would thoroughly review the electronic data and every security footage, cell tower data, and look for changes in activity patterns. All right. Now, Detective Martin also says that it's likely that Nancy was targeted for money, but she possibly died during the kidnapping, and that would explain why they keep asking for some kind of money. They're trying to get something. They couldn't show proof of life. But I mean, really, everybody's looking to the same thing. It's an opinion. The family isn't searching or begging for their mother. I feel like, because I feel like they're being strategic. So let's get into what I just talked about, electronics and where we can go with this case. All right. Did you notice how she got louder? She got much louder when Harvey got dropped off. Your guys' favorite, your guy's back. Let's get into this. This guy's legit theory. All right. This is all just theory and speculation at this point, but we're going to show you where the cameras are and the solar panels for the cameras, and knowing that FBI more than likely has more footage. It is definitely not a cold case. This cannot be a cold case. Why would they refuse? Who refused the FBI? What? I'm confused. Now let's listen to this. Again, this is all just theory right now, based on the images that we see.
I have a fun exercise for you guys. I know that's why you come here to do homework. So
he says that
if
too.
we know that Nancy took an Uber to Annie's house that night, right? A short 4-mile drive. Doesn't that mean Nancy clearly feels, in some ways that she's not safe behind the wheel? We do know that she has worn glasses and is in physical pain on most days, or maybe just has a hard time driving at night, as many people do.
Now, this is all us having conversations with each other and stirring up the pot, so to speak. Amber Nola. Yes, I'm going to Crime Con. Las Vegas 2026, May 29th through the 31st. And we're having a party on the 30th at the Bellagio. So hit me up if you want more information on that. Going back to work, that would be my approach. I would definitely go back to work and maintain my regular life because I have children and a wife and all of that. I would do that. So, I mean, who can say what's right and what's wrong? This happened after Savannah had just returned to the show after throat surgery. It did. But I'm not sure what that has to do with it. But just because I don't know if this person really just hates, it's just like some person that hates Savannah and is doing this out of hate, because they sure haven't gotten any money. And now the money went from $6 million to half a Bitcoin. What?
I'd have poor vision. So, my dad, before he passed away, almost ran over our neighbor. And from that point on, he just refused to drive at night ever again. And Nancy might have that same fear. So if that's the case, if, say, her daughter asked her to use the car because they have a family of 3 and they only have one car, I think Nancy would be more than happy to allow that daughter to use her car, right? So what if the reason that Nancy had to take an Uber that night is simply because she didn't have her car, right? It was not there, that it was already at A&T's house. Now, you have to admit that this is a very plausible case, right? And I will add that if A&T do only have one car, because we've only heard of them as having one car, that this would actually be a convenient arrangement for them.
Although now that we're covering this more closely, people are saying that they have 2 cars, that they had 2 cars the entire time. He's a good storyteller, but his suppositions make a lot of sense, and it makes you think, wait a minute, what other people aren't talking about, he is. And we're not just listening to some ex-FBI person talk about what they would do on the case, or Nancy Grace, throwing out her jabs and whatever, the same old stuff. It's something new to talk about. All right, let's continue. Patricia, do you have the link to the Bellagio party? I wanted to drop the link, and for some reason I cannot find the link for people to sub up or to RSVP for Vegas 2026 Crime Con. Let me know if you can drop that link. If not, I'll dig it up and drop it later.
By a reasonable mother. Why let a perfectly good blue Subaru go to waste, right? So in this scenario, we are going to place Nancy's blue Subaru at A&T's house to start. And I would assume that the reason they don't just drive on over to pick Nancy up is because either they're just busy doing things, you know, preparing food. I mean,
and again, every single episode that I've run thus far on the case, by the way, you guys go back to my playlist, check out the Nancy Guthrie case. Every single time that I do an episode, it always comes back around to those two. I wonder if law enforcement is already looking, I mean, not law enforcement, let's say FBI. Is FBI already looking at their movements, their electronics, maybe they have burner phones, etc. I'm wondering. Anyway, this is just us talking about the case. All right. Gigi, good to see you. All right. Who beat you to it? Oh, there you go. Crime Crew Party Evite, guys. We're having a party thanks to Patricia, New York, NYC. She's hosting a party for Guilty of Crime in Las Vegas 2026 on May 30th, 2026. So go grab that link and sign up if you want to go. Thank you. Thank you, Kel.
I've heard murmurs that they were having wine that night. I don't know how they would come across this information, as not much has been told, but the idea that they're both tipsy is in the realm of, you know, believability. So, but regardless of why it didn't happen, okay, why they didn't pick her up, we're going to assume that they did want to pick her up, but they just couldn't at that time. And so in this theory, the vehicle she is driven home in, right, completely changes now. And so do the dynamics of that night. And this is where the lack of footage when there are security cameras on a property becomes so annoying.
All right, I'm just going to back up for 2 seconds to show you this. I mean, this is all the stuff we could have thought about, but thanks to Monk's behavior, and my house is set up just like that. And I'm like, wait a minute, why didn't I notice that before? Well, I was too busy caught up in the other details of what the tattoos are like, etc. That's beautiful right there. That's beautiful. I use the same thing. I'm sure many of you, whether you know or not. All right. It says you can't find the link. My girl Tiff, thank you for stopping by. Can you help me with the link? I don't know. Kel sent a link and it says maybe, I don't know. Maybe you can email me and I'll drop it. Anyway, beautiful. This is how the cameras are set up. That's where the solar panels are. And whether you know it or not, any one of you guys, if you guys have cameras on your house, more than likely they're powered by solar and they're also plugged in. That way, if the electricity goes out or the power goes off, it's still holding the power with the panel, right? Some are just clearly from the panel, but that's the way I have my house set up, and I assure you, many of yours are probably set up that way too. All right, he says it doesn't work. Hopefully that one works. Thank you, Kel. All right, let's look at the camera angles and the cameras, and we're gonna see them actually up there on the roof. All right, smart, very smart.
The lack of footage when there are security cameras on a property becomes so annoying. I says to myself, there's no way on God's green earth that there is no camera right here at this garage area, okay? I even photoshopped these camera placements with my solid belief of common sense. And guess what? I do believe I found the proof, okay? Take a look at the video of the FBI agent removing that backyard camera, okay? Now, here's a more clear picture of that camera after the removal. Look at that little thing there, okay? Teacher, I know what that is because my family has it too. I believe that's a solar panel to power that specific camera that they just removed. Now look at this picture of the same.
Right, Mom? You see those things, right? I know you see those things. My mom was like, hey, where did the cameras go to? I'm like, those are mine, all right? Just got solar-powered mushrooms for the yard. That's awesome. Well, we have those. Mama Pearl will definitely attest to that. There's little solar panels all over the place. I wonder what they're for. That's what they're for. I have it's like a palace. We have full, and I don't understand why they didn't do that. Coulda, woulda, shoulda, right? All right.
FBI agent admiring how steep that garage incline.
Oh my God. When I heard this, I was like, I need to present this today. Not only the footage of the cameras, guys, but listen, not just wait, what? You just threw me off. All right, listen, not just the camera, not the cameras and the solar panels that I didn't catch, but the freaking garage. Look at that steepness of the garage. If we saw that in the beginning, we would say even more so. How in the heck did Tommaso or whoever dropped her off let her walk up there into there? Now, it's supposed to be the closest route to the room, but would it be easier to come through the front door, or did he purposely not want to come through the front door? No, tattoos are not bad for your skin. I have a bodysuit, my friend, Nancy, and prayers for you. If you, no, they don't have cause cancer. I've had tattoos for the last 25 years. And I don't think I have cancer, but no. All right, let's continue. Jay, the Italian cookie. Good to see you. Let's go.
Is what I believe she is actually doing is having located that second solar panel only to find that camera missing. Okay. Yep. This camera, I feel, is even more important than the doorbell camera footage itself. Not only should it have recorded, family bringing Nancy home that night, which would make or break their alibis, but wouldn't we also get a nice view of the crotch holster guy's movements before he...
You certainly got it. Where was the car coming from? What kind of car? And I'm telling you guys right now, if this case does break and more footage comes out, you're going to say you saw it on Monk's channel and here first, because I'm telling you, they did not just get stills from that Ring camera. They've got more that they're not releasing, in my opinion. Okay. They had them. It was the closest to that date. And they even pulled the back logs of them where we saw the way from the beginning of February. You can't tell me that they don't have any more footage. Yeah, everything causes cancer. This probably causes cancer, and I'm smoking it. This is nicotine, but yeah, it probably does cause cancer. Who knows? Let's continue.
Ran around the corner going to that front door, and guess what else? It might even show us a second culprit that many of us believe exists. If Google could do their black magic just one more time for this camera footage, this case might be cracked wide open. And if the Nest footage made the culprits piss their pants, then the driveway footage would make them poop their pants. Very kind of you to give me a meeting, Sheriff.
That's what I told you earlier. I said, you're going to poop yourself when you see this. Not only this, but we get a little bit of laughing in here because we know how incompetent the sheriff is and what's going on. That's why the initial, I can't even say initial, this whole case has been botched from day one. We lost a ton of evidence the first 24 to 48 hours. All right. Go back to Monday, February 2nd, get drone footage before anyone went on the property. Great idea. Nobody walked her in the garage. That's the problem. And why is the garage so steep? It's the way they built the house. Sometimes when you build something, you don't compensate for a certain thing and you got to arch it. That's just how it goes. All right, let's continue. Thank you, Nancy. I appreciate it. All right, let's go. All right, this is funny, guys. Be ready to clear the palate of all seriousness for a moment. It is very serious what he's talking about, but it's funny.
My name is Monks, by the way, and I'd just like to ask you a few very simple questions. So how many cameras were taken and where were they located? Well, Monks, it's not about how many cameras were taken or even where they're located. It's about the fact that I'm not going to tell you. But what I can say for sure is that we don't know, right? We don't know. Now, we believe that we do know, except that she was a great sound mind and sharp as a whip. You have your suspicions and we have ours, except that we believe our suspicions is correct. And we know that the culprit, he, she, they, them, pronouns are very important. Whoever took Nancy.
Oh, man.
They were aiming for her to take her. Aiming for her to, you mean that she was targeted? Monks. I'm not here to argue semantics. Okay, 0 suspensions.
You guys just get it. You can't tell me you're not laughing out loud right now. This is exactly what Sheriff Nanos does. He confuses himself and then he tries to confuse everyone else, but really he's just confusing himself because he's an idiot. And that's exactly how his press conferences have gone. All right, Denise, MAGA gal. In my opinion, they definitely have more footage. For some reason, they're not releasing it. They only released this one porch and left us hanging. I mean, I think they're just using it for evidence to track down the correct perpetrator or perpetrators. This is cracking me up, man. This has been like exactly what Nanos has been saying to us. All right, let's continue.
26 suspensions, it's all roughly in the same ballpark. Some people say tomato and some people say
tomato. Tomato.
Okay. You know what? I just have one last question for you, okay? Because this is ridiculous. What do you make of the blood on the porch? What blood? Damn it, Sheriff. So here's Nancy's car, seen in her garage after the abduction, right? The blue Subaru. But in this theory, we're asking the question, was this car in the garage on January 31st, okay?
And why wouldn't it be, okay? Just why wouldn't it be? But yeah, that's the whole point, is we're thinking now of things that we didn't see or know before. Why would she go through there? And 2 minutes, is that enough time for Tommaso or whoever dropped her off, Annie or Tommaso or both, to walk around, open her door, help her out, get her up into the room? Okay, I'm just asking the question. You don't have to answer me. It's funny, right? I got you guys laughing good. Well, Monks does anyway. We love you too, Deb.
Telematics will easily give us this information, but that has yet to be revealed, if ever, possibly, right?
What on the porch?
So in this theory, we have family driving Nancy home in her own blue Subaru. Now, I want you to look at something that a very astute commenter named Judy noticed that I never noticed before. And we brought this up earlier. Look at how steep that incline actually is.
Yeah.
That first step is definitely a doozy.
Not only that, but we didn't see that or know that before. Like, we knew it. We've probably seen it. I haven't seen the garage open except one time when people were coming in and out. And I was paying more attention to who the people were coming in and out. All right. There was no blood on the glove, but there is mixed DNA with the other blood or DNA that was found in the house. That's why I'm laughing, man. Park garage, come inside. All right, let's continue. It's crazy. Yeah, right? He didn't help her in 60 seconds. What is it? 60 seconds? Okay, let's continue. 120 seconds? What?
Especially for a person in Nancy's condition. Now, I spent a lot of time finding you this clip, so you better appreciate it, so that you can get a better idea of this incline, because it's actually steeper than it looks. All you have to do is watch this black SUV go out of the garage and watch this white one go in.
That's a big dip.
Just by how the vehicles jostle to get past, you can basically feel how steep that.
You can. Well, let me go back just for a second.
Just
watch how far it goes down and how far it goes up.
And watch this white one go in. And just by how the vehicles jostle to get past, you can basically feel how steep that incline is. Now, I remember I got so many comments about people choosing their garage as their preferred entry into the house when I suggested that for a person in Nancy's condition, she might want to enter the front door.
Yeah, but here's the thing. There's a couple things about this. Number one, a lot of people have asked me, why isn't there more camera footage, Jay? Doesn't everybody in that neighborhood have cameras, ring doorbells, just in general? All right. I don't know the answer. Now, Jay the Italian Cookie, I have to ask you a question. If you don't believe the story about her dropping her off and watching her go into the garage, why don't you believe that? And what does that mean to you? All right, next live membership salute. Thank you, Duke, for coming in. Get yourself a membership if you don't have one. Anybody, everybody, thank you. All right.
Because look at these handrails on the walkway, and it's definitely the closest entry point to get to her bedroom. So, okay, now that Judy has pointed this out to us, it becomes so glaring, at least to me, okay? I'll speak for myself. I just want to ask the same people that said that Nancy would probably go through the garage, okay? Now take your own biases out of this equation that you like to go through the garage. And honestly, does this now still look like a great exit and entry for an 84-year-old woman with physical limitations? Okay, one that Savannah described herself when she said, only on a good day could she even walk to the mailbox. That most days, she couldn't even do that. Now, this Uber driver, okay, I feel is still important in solving at least this part for us.
Agreed. That Uber driver is going to be able to tell us more, right? And maybe they have a dash cam. Who doesn't have a dash cam? I know around here, everybody does. I know I do. I've definitely used my dash cam and got me out of some BS, or or somebody hits me. Oh, I didn't hit you. And I'm like, look at the dash footage, bro. You hit me. Okay. So dash cams, Ring doorbells, and then Ring doorbell is just a doorbell with a camera. The Ring doorbells or Nest are to replace your doorbell, but they put it with a camera. I'm not even talking about all the external cameras that we just saw or that we can see back there on that roof with the separate solar panels. Now, you're not going to put separate solar panels on cameras that you're not recording or that don't work. I just don't see it. All right. I just don't see it. That Uber driver, where's the Uber driver? I mean, I'm here in San Jose, California. I don't know how they do it out there.
Now, if there's any chance that this Uber person is watching, you know, all we'd like to ask is if you picked Nancy up at the front of her house or did she come out of her garage? And if it's at the front of her house, well, I feel that ups the chances of a certain family member lying about the drop-off location, okay?
And if somebody's lying about the drop-off location, I'm going to ask you all the same question that I just asked. Why? Why would you need to lie about that? Why wouldn't you just say, hey, I just wanted to get home. I opened the door and I didn't even see her get in. All right. Nancy Ezra, welcome to the Crime Crew Official. Thank you. This is Monk's Intrigue, and the link is not only in chat, but it's in the description. Kim says, Jay. Yes, Kim. All right. Why would he lie? Why would they need to lie if they did nothing wrong?
But let's get back to the theory of A&T having Nancy's car, okay? Then it would actually be reasonable that she did enter through the garage, okay? For that person driving her car to basically go into the garage, parking that car right on the right side there. I mean, I feel in any scenario, that car should be going completely into the garage. Even if there was absolutely no incline whatsoever, we feel whoever's dropping her off should still do this, right? We don't just watch an 84-year-old mother-in-law painfully walk up this incline and into her house without ever getting out of the car or lifting a finger, which always has been an issue for a lot of us, okay?
And that's my whole, thank you for saying that, Deborah. The pic with Savannah and her mom in the kitchen at the computer is showing the cameras outside. And rightfully so. That's what most people have. They have a monitor. You could have a cheap ass monitor that just shows all your camera footage. Even if you're not recording, I assure you, there's a backlog of records. And it happened so quick, guys. I mean, there was 52 minutes. 52 minutes in between the time that Annie and Tommaso knew that their mom was missing and called 911. What did they do in that 52 minutes? Did they go on their phones and delete some of the footage? I'm saying there's more footage. All right. Hello, Kim. I just wanted to make sure if you needed something, I can help you. All right. Gotta be me. First time commenting on your channel. Just found you recently. The 2-minute window has been driving me crazy since the beginning. I find it completely implausible that Nancy alone did this in 2 minutes. Amen. And welcome to the Crime Crew. I agree. It's bothered me the entire time as well.
Okay. I mean, from just a decency standpoint to even the practical time frame standpoint that Nancy did all this within 2 minutes. So guess what, ladies and gentlemen? In my opinion, I still maintain that Nancy would have rather been dropped off at the front of her house, right? At the front walkway, okay? The shortest distance between point A being A&T, to point B being her bedroom. And if I am correct, then why wasn't she dropped off at the front? So what do we have? Okay. We have family driving Nancy home, pulling directly into the garage because they're in Nancy's car, you know? And if you think about it, this could actually be them returning Nancy's car because we all know that she had to go to her friend's house in the morning.
Right. That's the most basic of basic things. Again, Occam's razor is the most simple answer, guys. So when you start to get confused, just pull yourself out of that confusion. Take a look at Occam's razor, which is the most simple form of what happened. Take the tinfoil hats off for a minute and just think about it. Exactly. I had to stop because they waited 52 minutes to call 911, and then they waited 3 hours to call Savannah. What is it that they were doing? Did they try calling her and she didn't answer the phone? Did they text her and say it's an emergency? She just didn't check it. What happened in between there? Kim Wells, I'm newer on here. I know Matt. Well, what's up, Kim Wells? Good to see you, my friend. I hope you get a membership. Well, how did her blood get there? Was that from a different day? Yeah, don't be confused. Don't be confused.
So, of course, she would want her car back. And she's not afraid to drive in the daytime. And so now we picture the garage door closing on Nancy and that family member inside the house. Okay. So this is where the dynamics change. You know, some of you have already figured it out that now there has to be another family member involved because someone has to pick up this family member. So now we have to picture another car trailing that blue Subaru all the way home. And so this scenario, if anything nefarious happened, adds another complicit member to the mix. So I guess we can mull over that one, guys, because A&T borrowing Nancy's car could be just an angle to explain away, you know, the Uber, okay, why she took an Uber that night, and to possibly theorize that maybe the scene of the crime wasn't actually, you know, A&T's car. Remember, they did impound Nancy's car, and those telematics.
Right. And Tiana Murphy, welcome to the crime crew. Love your chat. First time chatting, I subscribe. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. He had his band member put a mask on to plant the blood. Interesting. I mean, I definitely think there's a bunch of connections in there. But I'm just, my tinfoil hat's off and I'm trying to find the most simple answer to the most basic question. Who is going to gain the most out of this? All right. Who's gaining the most? Is it the person on the other side of the computer that is messing up Savannah's time on TV? They just hate her so much and they're pissed off and angry. Or is it the people that want and need money? But it doesn't seem to be that because they haven't got paid anything and there's been no proof of life. There's only a couple possibilities here. I know UFOs didn't come and take her, and I know she didn't disintegrate on her way from the car into the garage. So
coming from that vehicle, I think would be incredibly interesting. Okay. Both cars' movements would be very interesting, which always leads us back to the question we've had for a while now. Why was A&T's car impounded for so long, especially when telematics could be extracted within a few minutes or even a few hours, depending if the case is crucial.
And this is why I keep reporting on this. There's so much clickbait. There's so many AI videos right now that are saying the killer's caught, kidnapper's caught, and showing Annie and Tommaso. All right. Good to see you, Ben. But any of those videos that are AI and you don't know who the creator is or what's coming, it's probably clickbait. So try not to get fooled. What if she was missing way longer than what they reported? She couldn't be missing longer than reported because she was at dinner that night for the family dinner. And I don't know if there were other people there or what have you, but I don't think that's possible. Maybe minutes, but not days or hours.
Just like a missing persons case, right? And I hear that worst case scenario, it might take a few days, but A&T's car was impounded for over a month, 33 plus days, I hear in some reports. Just to throw back Sheriff Nanos' own words, okay? Why don't they just please respect their profession, okay? If family is the victim, why are they victimizing the victims by keeping innocent people's cars for 33 days? These people have to go to work. These people have to run errands. As far as we know, this is the only vehicle they have.
Thank you. Yes.
Anyways, guys, my name is Monks. Now go protect the ones that you love and love the ones that protect you. And if you guys are still here, then you guys get to see Toki. And you get to see Toki's garage. Yeah.
Aww.
Sometimes I really wonder.
So cute. I love it. I don't want cats anymore, but I love it. All right, I'm going to go back and show you what people are talking about. Annie and Tommaso at the house yesterday. It was probably yesterday. They might have been back today, but these are the photos where people are saying they're there. This was 23 hours ago yesterday. Yesterday at Nancy's home, it would seem an unidentified person, and Annie's husband, Tommaso, was at the home taking stuff out of the garage. You can see the garage door opening and closing. And here is Tommaso. Now I'm going to ask you, we've been here 2 hours and almost 2.5 hours, but I have the video of the ransom, talking about the ransom, and John Ramsay weighs in on the Nancy Guthrie case with Deception Detective. It's like a 10-minute video. Do you want to go over that video? If you want to go over that video with me, put a 1 in chat. If not, put a 2 and I'll just head out of here. All right, Tommaso's guilty. Savannah, get your life. Well, yeah, it's interesting. I don't know. In my opinion, I can't say who did what, but it's really just, this whole thing is odd. And the people that most gain something out of this are Annie and Tommaso, but we can't base it just on that. All right. We can't base it just on that. So, I mean, what they said was going to happen is happening. All right. Now we got a bunch of Letitia Stout stuff. All right. Did we get some 1s in chat? All right, and you all should go over to X at Guilty of Crime. All right. John Ramsay weighs in on the Guthrie case. You guys got to remember, there is not many kidnapping cases that we've ever seen in our lifetime, and let alone to talk about a ransom that is actually paid and somebody gets a body or a person for. Have you ever seen that? Has anyone ever seen that in here? Because I haven't. You got it, Midnight Lace. I was saying that he looks like he's losing weight. And yes, you're right. He's a teacher. You say time is of essence. All right, let's hear what this is. John Benet Ramsay's father. All right, you guys know John Benet Ramsay was allegedly kidnapped. There was a long ransom note that was written on the paper at the house using their own stuff, referring to his bonus that he was going to get that year. Still not solved. They found John Benet Ramsay later dead in there. Was it the basement or the extra room that they had? They didn't look, right? And she had a garrote around her neck. Many things, many suppositions. He's going to talk about the Nancy Guthrie case, which is crazy to me.
From the latest video that Savannah Guthrie's brother just released, and what do you gather from the ransom note?
I think the bottom line is Mrs. Guthrie was abducted, and it's a kidnapping. So whether there's a ransom note or not is irrelevant.
Not only is John Ramsay wrong from an investigative standpoint, he's wrong from a common sense standpoint too. So what's going on here? In today's video, let's break down his surprisingly revealing Nancy Guthrie interview to find out. I'm Deception Detective, an attorney trained in statement analysis. This channel exposes lies and manipulation. So if that's your thing, hit subscribe. For early access to new videos, over 60 exclusive videos, and other cool perks, consider becoming a channel member. Link in description. My videos about the John Benet Ramsay case have amassed millions of views on YouTube, so I'm just going to assume we're all already familiar with the case facts. But new viewers viewers might not be familiar with my personal opinion of the case, so before we grab our deception decks and start analyzing this interview, here's a quick recap of that. Based on John and Patsy's own words, I think they staged JonBenét's murder to protect their son Burke. Specifically, I think Burke bludgeoned JonBenét's head, clinically killing her, and then the parents accidentally biologically killed her when they were staging the garrote around her neck. Obviously, there's a lot more nuance to my theory, and I'll link my entire...
And that's so crazy that his theory is still that of JonBenet or John Ramsay and his wife. All right. Yeah, just in time for DD. What's up, Synth? I hope you did well. Hit that like button, subscribe, sub up to this guy. Again, there are no kidnapping cases. They're not often that we get a kidnapping case with a ransom where somebody's going to pay the ransom and get the person back. All right. That just doesn't happen. Now, in this case, there was a ransom note, but they later found JonBenet not alive.
Our playlist below if you want to binge watch it later, but that should be enough for us to get started. So without further ado, let's get into this interview.
Our next guest has a personal tie to a case like this. When John Ramsay's 6-year-old daughter, JonBenet, disappeared on Christmas Day back in 1996, the Ramsays found a ransom note and called the police. John Ramsay joins us now. Thank you so much for coming on with us.
You're welcome.
What do you gather from the latest video that Savannah Guthrie's brother just released? And what do you gather from the ransom note, considering you've had experience with this?
Well, I haven't seen either, but the ransom note in our case was...
Now, none of us have seen any of them because they're not typical ransom notes like what happened in this case. In this case, it was a freaking literal piece of paper, yellow paper, legal paper, right? It came from in the house using their notepad, and it was like a book. It was like multiple pages, all right? Let's continue. He's weighing in on this ransom, which is likely, the text messages and the emails are likely very condensed so that they can't figure out someone's writing pattern or speech pattern, etc. I'm assuring you, it's very simple and to the point.
Just somebody's fantasy, and I don't know that you can take much from it. I think that bottom line is Mrs. Guthrie was abducted, and it's a kidnapping. So whether there's a ransom note or not is irrelevant.
If you want to get a kidnapping victim home alive, the ransom note tells you how to do that. If you want to catch a kidnapper, the ransom note is usually your best lead, especially in John Ramsay's case, where it was literally the only piece of physical evidence left behind by the supposed kidnapper.
Yeah, the supposed kidnapper. Again, I believe it took almost 2 days to get a ransom note to TMZ and to local news stations. That's not really a ransom note if it's an afterthought, okay? So just think about it that way. Think about it that way, and just let's listen to what he says. Yeah, he gives a fuck about anything. Well, we do because we want to see the similarities. Not only do we want to see similarities, but we still, some of us, and my take is the same as his, is that JonBenet Ramsay's death was on the hands of the Ramsays, that someone in the house did that and they covered it up. That's why we care.
In other words, what John just said is completely nonsensical, and that's actually why I think it's so revealing. Specifically, I think while he was stuttering and stammering and pausing, he was realizing just how hypocritical it would look if he told the Guthries to seriously scrutinize their ransom notes, because he did the exact opposite, as I pointed out many times in previous videos. Not only did the Ramsays immediately ignore all of its warnings, they also didn't publicize it to identify its author, even after hiring legendary FBI profiler John Douglas, who famously caught the Unabomber by doing just that. To sum it up, John's seemingly nonsensical.
I didn't even think about that. And I heard this earlier and I was like, oh shoot. Yes. The Unabomber. The Unabomber was in fact caught based on the notes that he was sending to media. You ask why if you don't know? I'll tell you why. Because they published those they weren't ransom, they were just notes from the Unabomber trying to get attention, just like this case, wanting to get attention, wanting to see the hurt from the people that he caused hurt to. And once they published that ransom letter, or the letter, so to speak, not ransom letter, the brother-in-law was watching the news or reading a paper, and he saw it and he said, I know who that is. That's my brother-in-law. That's how he writes. So remember, we got to look at speech patterns, the way people, the way they word things, the phrases. Nowadays, it's hard because you could just throw it through AI and change it all up. All right. Totally hypocrite. Just another red herring or distraction. All right, guys, let's not argue about Wicca and whatever people. Evil people are evil. Dark people are dark. Let's not talk about somebody. Let's not insult people. All right. Please, let's just drop this. Evil people are evil. Dark people are dark. That's it. Let's not label other people and argue with each other. Please. We are here for Nancy Guthrie. We're here to find out what we can do to get the word out. All right, please. Just keep your beliefs to yourself. If someone's getting upset by it, then let's talk about something else. We really aren't talking about, we don't like drama over here. Let's not do that. Thank you. I appreciate that. All right. I agree. Someone's desperate for anything they can get. I just summed up your message.
Statement here actually makes perfect sense if you see it through the lens of him being self-conscious about his own case, but he's not done twisting himself into knots just yet. So let's keep listening.
John, what does the family do in this situation? You know, I'm sure, I don't know how many millions they're asking for, but I'm sure they have access to that, considering that it's such a high-profile family and they have lots of high-profile friends. I'm sure they have access to that kind of money when it means someone's life is on the line. But what do? Do they pay it?
No, not unless they know that she's alive. And that's what we required. We were prepared to require that in John Benet's case. We had the money ready, but our plan, we were supposed to get a call, and our plan was, let me talk to my daughter. And if she's alive, we'll get the money to you and get her back. But you just don't want to, particularly in this world, you just don't want to be sending money.
Why does he sound like he's just tripping over his own words? This is weird for this. I'm glad that he's out there talking. I feel like he's going to pass away and we're only going to have Burke left and the case may never be solved. But I don't know. This is weird. Yeah, no drama llamas, please. We're talking about Nancy Guthrie. She's been missing for 66 days and I'm sure her family would love to get closure. We'd love to bring her home. If she was alive, that would be great. We don't know. Probably not.
To anybody that,
because they're going to be scared if they let her go, that she knows the whereabouts, she knows the voice, she knows what this person may or may not look like. So it's a really tough position for a family to be in all the way around. What's happening behind the scenes, John? What's going on behind the walls of that house, wherever the children are together?
Well, it's horrible. It's a horrible anxiety and a feeling of helplessness. What can I do? How do I get my mother back? And it's a horrible time for them. I'm sorry to say. Yeah. And sleep's out of the question. The poor families had to wait now 5 days. And, we thought we had to wait 24 hours because the ransom note said, we'll call you tomorrow. And I thought, oh my gosh, I can't sleep. Obviously, I'm not going to go to bed. How am I going to function? And, but yet I felt like I needed to keep alert and be able to deal with whatever came my way. I really thought I could get my daughter back.
Earlier, John made the tactical decision to look foolish rather than hypocritical. Now he's doing the opposite. He just said they thought they'd need to wait 24 hours because John Benet's ransom note said they'd call him tomorrow, which would make sense if the kidnapper were omniscient. Remember, collecting the ransom is the entire point of committing the very risky and dangerous crime of kidnapping.
Exactly. Please remember that when you get confused in this case and it's talking about kidnapping, when someone's kidnapping for a ransom, my friends, that means they want money. That means money is their motivator. Now, when they kidnap for not a ransom or they're not really pushing it and it's an afterthought, well, it may be something much bigger than that. Or maybe they just really messed up and she accidentally died and they were trying to deal with the death, got rid of her, and then, okay. But really, it says quite a bit when a ransom note is an afterthought of a kidnapping. Now, Mind you, these people planned out this kidnapping because we saw the guy at the door. We saw one of the masked men previously at the door weeks before scoping it out. Okay. You don't go do a kidnapping for ransom and forget the ransom note. What's up, my missing piece, Jax? It's good to see you, my friend. It's been a while. All right, let's continue.
Someone for ransom. So the details of when, where, and how much aren't the sort of things that they just leave up to chance or are vague about. In other words, the fact alone that the ransom note said vaguely tomorrow without specifying a precise date and time is a giant tell that it was a hoax, as I pointed out in one of my earliest videos about this case. And the interesting thing here is John only started saying this thing about the waiting 24 hours after I put out this video. I don't even think he realized that if there were actually a kidnapping, there's no way they could have known if Patsy would have read the note before midnight. And that's a common mistake for hoaxers to make because they already know everything. They're already in the author's head because they are the author. So they know what their made-up kidnapper knows or will ever know. First, John looked foolish, and now that he's trying to repair a major plot hole in his story, he's looking hypocritical because he's never said this before. At least not that
That is wild that he's never said this before. And Wyatt caught it too. All right. Wyatt caught it too. There's only so long you could stick to a story. And you got to remember who talks and who doesn't talk, what they say, what they don't say. All right. That's the only thing that we can go on for right now. All right. Let's continue, guys. Hit that like button. Subscribe if you haven't. Get a membership if you can. I think our goal's over, but hey, it wouldn't hurt. Thank you.
I'm aware of, but he is about to mention something he's harped on about a lot, and that's the supposed kidnapper's DNA evidence, which I see a lot of people fall for. So let's listen to how he frames it, and then we'll break it down.
So that's the key. Bring in every resource you get your hands on. Don't let ego and pride and this is my territory.
Right. Well, that sounds just like Nanos now, doesn't it?
That's irrelevant. That shouldn't be part of the decision-making process.
What about lie detector tests? Because I know they haven't ruled out anyone as a suspect. I'm not saying that anyone in the family might have done that or did do this, but it's always a possibility. If you watch any crime show, it's usually the family or someone that has access inside the home, someone that knows this individual and has that information. Is everyone getting a polygraph test right now? What's happening on that end behind the scenes?
No, I don't think so. I think that to me, the key piece is the DNA. They've treated the crime scene, they've treated the house as a crime.
That's what I'm going to tell you right now. In all the research that I've done in this case, I'm going time and time again over different cases that have been solved recently in the 2020s. And I'm telling you right now, there's major cases that are being solved right now because of the genetic genealogy that just wasn't possible 30 years ago. And that's why these killers are out there still, because the DNA didn't connect. However, they do have DNA. We've heard it's just a thing going around. If they have DNA like they said they do in this scene where there was DNA mixed with Nancy's DNA, and it was only one person, there was an odd person out, everyone else was supposed to be there. When that genetic genealogy comes back and they find that person that was related to that person, it's game over. It's game over for that person. I'm telling you right now, we don't have to wait 30 years. That's all I got to say about that. Let's continue.
Scene, which is critical. They need to scour the house thoroughly for DNA. And if they get what they believe is unidentified DNA that they can't trace, then that DNA needs to go to an outside lab, like an Othram or a Parabon, who can implement investigative genetic genealogy. That's the latest and greatest technique for
I don't even think he knows what he's talking about, which is kind of good to hear. Maybe it will come out after his death, or if he gets dementia, he'll tell the world. What's up, Kel? And Shayna's in the house. Now, listen. We watched this earlier. Maybe you missed it. Harvey said the FBI said, do not pay at all whatsoever. So it's not about Harvey or TMZ or Savannah being shady. They're saying no, don't pay it. FBI has advised TMZ and the people, anybody that can pay it, don't That's why. All right, because it's not that much money. Savannah can go right now, I'm sure, into her wallet and throw out $30,000, $35,000 of Bitcoin. That is not going to bring Nancy back. All right.
Solving, or at least, identifying the culprit. It's if they can do that, they've had a pretty good shot at identifying who this is.
There's a reason John Ramsay always steers the conversation to the supposed bombshell DNA evidence, and that's because it's a great distraction. Lots of people seem to follow that red herring because it's scientific, but the fact of the matter is the way he presents it is completely misleading. As I've explained many times, but probably the best way I explained it was in this video, so I'm just going to play.
Now listen, this is Colleen. Thank you for saying this. Yes, the DNA. People are forgetting that there's DNA, but more than one person. So others, Annie and Tommaso DNA, they know was there because they were supposed to be there. But I mean, just for a second, we just heard that there was an unidentified person at the house with Annie and Tommaso. Just for 1 second. I'm telling you, that could be them. It could be a connection of them. That's like, oh, I know that. I'm friends with the people of Savannah Guthrie and her mom Nancy. That's how close I believe we are to finding out who did this or getting that DNA back. Once that DNA comes back, which, by the way, Nanos botched. Sheriff Nanos was supposed to send that DNA to the FBI Quantico lab, and instead he sent it to a local place where it takes up to a year. So we have to wait a year to find out who this person is. What's up, cheapskate? Good to see you, my friend. Mab's in the house. The king has risen.
That clip debunking John Ramsay's DNA evidence claim. So the question I often get is, well, DD, if Burke killed John Bonet, how do you explain the unidentified DNA? The issue here is that the question is based on a fallacy, that whoever left that DNA must be the killer. But that's not necessarily true. The Ramsays were at a Christmas party that night, and that trace DNA could have come from anyone who'd ever been in that house. The Ramsays' own home was bustling with staff, police, and visitors the very morning John Bonet's body was found. Even the supposed evidence that John Bonet was alive when the garrote was applied doesn't rule out Burke clinically killing her with blunt force trauma and the parents biologically killing her with the garrote during the cover-up without ever even knowing. My main point is, if all the evidence is pertinent and it all neatly leads to a single evil mastermind, right before credits roll, you're watching a TV show. Real life is chaotic, full of trade-offs, opportunism, mistakes, stupidity.
Now listen, everything that he's saying right here is what's happening in this case. Now, Kim Scott says, I'm telling you, Tommaso and Annie are involved. I feel it in my stomach from day one. This guy, John Ramsay's losing it. Well, like I said, every episode that I've ever done on the Nancy Guthrie case brings me right back to them. And I'm like, why? Is it because it's them? Is it a friend of theirs that knew about Savannah on the Today Show and they figured they'd get an opportunity? Because they're definitely opportunists in this whole situation. We don't even know if any of these ransoms are real.
In randomness. Long story short, the presence of unidentified DNA doesn't somehow magically clear anybody else of a crime. And I think John Ramsay knows that. And that sort of deceptive misdirection just isn't something that honest people do, much less contradict themselves and change their stories, like I pointed out earlier in this video. But let me know your thoughts about John Ramsay and the Nancy Guthrie case in the comments below. You can find my entire analysis about both cases on the end screen. For more like this, like, share, and hit the...
All right, make sure you sub up to Deception Detective. We've been here for quite some time now, and we started it off with this in the first few days. Now, Kim Wells, I'm in California, and it's 6:51 p.m. I don't know if you're on the East Coast or if that is Central. You guys tell me. It's 6:51 here and 9:51 Eastern. Okay, listen. Besides that, you come in late, my friend. That Ramsay thing happened decades ago. It'll never be solved. No, don't say that. I've been watching lots of cases that have been solved by genetic genealogy. I give you homework, Wyatt. Go to your favorite AI platform and find out all of the cases that have recently been solved with genetic genealogy. You will be very, very surprised. All right. Did you hit that like button? If you do, please. If you didn't, please do. Now, look, we started out with this. Then we started looking at this, right? Look at the tattoo. Could it be that con? And then last week we went to this, and we see this guy that confessed, right? Mab, you've got this guy too. What is his name? Ronald Lopez, weirdo. And then this. We're like, that looks so fake. I'm just bringing you through the motions of what we've been through. And bottom line is we need to bring Nancy Guthrie home. All right. The new letters really do state that, or in the new letter details that were released say Nancy is dead. Just straight out. Okay. All right. Thank you. I appreciate that, Jay the Italian cookie. So there we are. You know, we went from here to here to here to here to here and then back to here. All right. Where we're just still thinking about who and what and whatever. Wyatt says you shouldn't be so quick to judge. That guy accused of the Olympic bombing was exonerated. No, we shouldn't. And we're not. I mean, I'm not. I'm saying I'm giving you all kinds of, I don't know how I'm quick to judge when I've got all these different people and theories going on at the same time. And again, Annie and Tommaso are on my mind, but it doesn't mean I'm stuck on them. All right. So that being said, let's bring Nancy Guthrie home. Right. Today is my Monday. I know it's Tuesday, but I did not work yesterday and I did not film yesterday. So thank you guys for being here. Hit that like button. If you're new here, please hit all notifications, subscribe, share, and hype when you can. Thank you. All right, guys, we've been here for almost 3 hours. That's a lot. That's a lot on a weekday. Love you guys. Thank you for the support. And I will see you back here tomorrow, 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 7 p.m. Eastern. Thank you, guys. Peace. Love y'all. Yep, there's one. That's just one of them, Patricia. Let's get to it. All right, guys. Love you all. And I will see you guys tomorrow. Thank you. Bye, Krista.
Guilty of crime.
I want to thank you for watching. If you enjoyed my content, please share this video, like, and subscribe. You can also follow me over at Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, X, or Gmail. If you'd like to donate to my channel, you can use Cash App or Venmo or PayPal. Thank you very much in advance. Guilty of crime.
Are you guilty of crime?